welcome in everybody, and welcome to number 70, episode 70, number 70. It's all the same shit of the pre-patch podcast. I know, Scruffy, you're going to be sad because we're past that epic episode number 69.
That just means we got to get to 169. So
169.
Yeah, man.
Then 269 and 369.
269 and then 420 and then 469.
Yeah.
The real goat dream is to get to 69.
That's true. Yeah, that's.
At that point, we'll be so old and dead and decrepit. It'd be. I don't know. I mean, you know, how that would work, but sure. But yeah, welcome in everybody. It's episode number 70, and we are, I think, as of yesterday, right, officially updated across all of them. Right, we're caught up all across the board. So
I do believe so. Yes.
There is no excuse as to why you should be missing any content when it comes to this podcast. So 69 previous episodes. This is going to make 70. And if you guys are listening to episode number 69 before you listen to number 70, hey, we do this live. You can come check us out across all of our channels, whether it be on the YouTube or whether it be on over at Twitch with Enigma holding it down over there. You can come engage with our community, come and chat, come and hang out, come and be there. Just all of that good stuff. So make sure that, you know, do that. If you can't, anchor.fm/pre-patch podcast. Go in and check us out there. Like, you can get all of our stuff over there as well. So, yeah.
I really need to know how you have the technology to put a message into episode 69 from this live stream right now, like you just said.
I don't know. Because I'm just crazy. So, yes, no, you are correct, Scruffy. It's okay. I am not live on my channel. So, no, we're live on your on the pre-patch channel and Enigma's channel. So
oh wow.
Yeah,
so next week the next podcast will be live
just on your channel.
And
then we'll be live. Then we'll be live nowhere.
So. We'll just not be live at all. Yep. We'll just go to a pre-recorded at this point.
Yeah. Talking boxes. So,
next episode, then we'll just be live on the pre-patch podcast for YouTube, and then we'll work on the Twitch one.
Yeah.
So if you guys do not have it, go check us out on YouTube. You can find us. I think it's at pre-patch podcast on YouTube, and Twitch. It is at, I
believe, right?
No, it's I changed that this weekend, so it will be twitch.tv/pre-patch podcast.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
and if you catch me on my stream, this will be my last one on the stream as well. So catch them over there.
Yep. So it doesn't mean we're not streaming anymore. It just means we're not streaming to our individual channels. Because I'll respectively say this: the company that we're going through is royally bidding us over and pushing the corn cob up our bums. As it's happening right now. As it's happening, I'm literally watching it happen right now. Like, God bless it, bro. It's such a pain in the ass. This is so stupid. Anyway, all right, but that's not what the podcast is about. The podcast is about gaming and, you know, all the news and stuff like that. And if you're new here, we definitely give you the rawest, realest opinion that you possibly can get. Some of them you're going to like, some of them you're not going to like. You're going to find people on the show that you're going to love. Other people, which will probably be myself, you're going to hate. And that's normal. I accept my role as the villain in this group. I get it. But there's got to be a villain to have good guys. So, hey, it's a crucial part. Yeah, we talk about Twitch news. We talk about YouTube news. We also talk about gaming. And, you know, we try to talk about stuff that not everybody else is covering, right? Like, I think if you go and I want to take a second because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I think we all do, right? And we try to cover stuff that's not just, you know, the news that I think everybody covers. Like, everybody's talking about, you know, this or that or whatever else. Like, we really try to just kind of dig deep into what we find our communities like and enjoy, and you know, it kind of works. So if this is your first episode, you should go check out some of the other episodes because we have some really great takes. And I'm excited for the rest of the year because, you know, we've only got a couple more shows to finish out the year, and, you know, the Game of the Year edition is coming up, and that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be good. Yeah,
that's always a good discussion. Especially I think this year there's gonna be some great discussions.
Like there's been a lot this year, you know, that's come out. So
yeah, I'm excited to see Kratos go against a fucking cat for Game of the Year because that's happening. So. Yeah. So Stray versus Kratos, who's gonna win that one? That's for another episode. So let's get into this episode. So we always kick off every single episode with the kind of Twitch news or drama. No drama really. I don't think this episode. I think it's mainly just news. And there was a couple things, right? So we're gonna kind of go through, unpack each one on the Twitch side a little bit. I don't, there's a lot here to kind of unpack, and we don't want to spend too much time on it. But we'll unpack each of the new things, and then obviously the YouTube side. But so Twitch just I think broke today, right? Like I think it was just announced.
Yeah, literally today.
That Xbox can now you can stream from your Xbox to Twitch, which
directly.
Did they,
Twitch, yeah.
I thought they had that before. No, that was to Mixer,
they did,
right?
but you had to go through an app like the Xbox app. But yeah, Mixer when it was on Mixer, when it was going through Mixer had a built-in like direct line that you could go straight to Mixer. So
okay, yeah,
I found that
yeah.
kind of interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know that.
I think
it's really weird considering PlayStation's had like direct streaming
had that forever.
functionality.
I mean, for a while.
Yeah, since like the PS3 era. So I don't know why Xbox had the third-party app, but hey,
well,
doesn't
doesn't
streamline the experience more? I'm about it.
on the PlayStation though, doesn't it run through the actual? It's not. So okay, let me ask this: is this running through the Twitch app, like a Twitch app, or is this just running directly core off of the backbone of?
It's directly
Yeah,
from
it just goes directly to Twitch from the back.
Where's my damn control? There's a button, literally.
Yeah, there's a stream button. I know on the.
It's got a share button. Yeah.
Yep, you can record video, you can take screenshot, or you can go directly to stream from that button.
But on the what I'm saying,
all integrated in the hardware.
on the Xbox side though, is it currently integrated into the hard? Because I know there's a share there on the Xbox One. There was a share functionality, right? The original Xbox One.
Yeah, there's still a share. There's a share button.
Yeah.
But does
There's
it
a share button? I'm looking at my Xbox controller right now. There is a share button that and I assume if you're on an Xbox, you click that, it goes directly to the same thing that like the PlayStation has, where it's like screenshots, share a screenshot, or go directly live to Twitch.
and on the
prior
PlayStation?
to this, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying on the PlayStation, it's only to Twitch though, right? Like because I thought PlayStation had a thing where it was you can stream to multiple.
Twitch, YouTube. I think Facebook might be on there. I know Twitch and YouTube definitely are. I don't know about any of the other ones.
But Xbox is just Twitch, right? The Xbox is only allowing it to stream just to Twitch.
Or wasn't it Mixer too though? You said.
Well, Mixer, yes, but I'm talking about right now. It's only
right now.
right. So it's just to Xbox. The reason I'm asking these questions is because I'm leaning and directing into what I think Enigma brought up, which is, does this allude to what we talked about, which is, if this is only going to Twitch and not going to YouTube, it's not built into Xbox's core data. Like PlayStation is built into their core system to be able to hit the button and stream to multiple different platforms. Which is why I think they had it for so long. Xbox now all of a sudden taking this interest in Twitch. Is this because what we've all, like I said, alluded is Microsoft going to buy Twitch? Like, is this a play to buy them? I know, Bill, I think you said otherwise, right? I think, are you not necessarily saying otherwise? But.
Still think it's a bit of a stretch. I'm not opposed to Microsoft buying Twitch. I think it would be a very good job or move for streamers in general and for the company. I think that Microsoft really wanted to get into the streaming game with Mixer, and they just didn't have the ground level set, I guess. Them buying Twitch straight up would give them that ground level, and hopefully they would be able to improve upon that. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but I think it is a bit of a stretch to say that this is a precursor to a move. But only time will tell. I would happily be wrong on this one.
Yeah, it would be pretty sneaky if this is
it would be interesting.
Yeah,
because like we were saying a couple episodes back, like that, like ideally if you look at like the companies that could buy Twitch right now, right? Like you've got Sony, or you've got Microsoft, or you got Facebook, right? Like those are the main companies that are going to want to purchase and snag up Twitch's actual architecture and what they have going on for them, right?
And let's be real here, Sony ain't got any interest in the live streaming space. They just now got their cloud live streaming for games. So.
Exactly. I think the best bet for Twitch, if they were actually going to be selling this entire platform off, and we've said it multiple times prior, would definitely be to sell it to fucking Microsoft.
Now,
right? Because they have, I think that they have the right direction that they're going with Mixer, with what they wanted to do on Mixer. It's just they had too much competition with Twitch.
Yeah.
So
Now Tencent doesn't really dabble in like these kinds of buys, right? Like they don't really dabble in any sort of like streaming platform or like
Tencent's
platforms
just a
other
black
than
hole,
like,
dude. They suck up
Yeah,
anything
they
they can
do,
get,
like,
it
honestly.
really just
like developers,
it really just
game studios, right? That's
Well,
all they kind of
if
dive
Tencent-
into.
I'm pretty sure that they have other avenues. I'm pretty sure they've purchased other things other than game studios.
The,
yes.
the problem is with Tencent though is that if they purchase it because it's a China, it's an Eastern operated and owned
Yeah.
company, our government would have an issue with it. They
Gotcha.
already don't like TikTok as it is, so to have another platform like that would, I mean, especially when you're talking, TikTok is whatever it is, it is a live platform, but it's nowhere to the comparison of this. Like there would be,
Yeah.
they would shut it down pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would imagine at least.
I think Embracer Group could make a play for it if they really wanted to, which is another one that we've never really talked about. I think Embracer Group for sure could, but I don't see them. I think where Xbox is wanting to go, like Microsoft, just makes the most sense. I think out of all of it, and Phil Spencer has said that they're not done buying companies. I mean, both companies, PlayStation and Phil, and Microsoft have both said that. So,
Yeah.
we'll see where that goes.
Do you think TikTok has any chance of looking into it?
But buying them, no. Like I said,
The problem again lies in that TikTok is a Chinese company, so they'd have the same situation they're having with their current platform, right?
Getting authorization.
And especially because of this is not a political based podcast, but especially because of the state of what's going on in the world with like the UN and the I forgot the name of the group that they created, but there's another they're basically that whole thing and it's just with politics in the world right now. There's no way I don't see it. It would not pass here. It would pass over there maybe, but not here for sure.
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
But no, anyway, you can stream now directly from your Xbox. So congratulations.
I think also on Xbox now there's better integration with Discord. Just as a little.
Yeah, no, they
There
launched a full-fledged Discord. Like it mimics what's on PC to a point.
It looks pretty clean.
Yeah.
They've needed it for a while, honestly. Honestly, I think that's what I was about to say. I think that both Xbox and PlayStation both need to just embrace fucking Discord and just be like, this is what we're using as our team.
I heard Sony was coming out with it, but man, we haven't heard anything on it since like that announcement a while ago.
It was like a tease thing. It wasn't even really an announcement. They were like, hey, we're in talks with Sony, and then it never.
Yeah, we're in a partnership with Sony at some capacity.
Yeah. Well, after the COD lobbies that we were in last night, I don't think anybody should have any kind of chat at all. It was terrible.
I heard like 20 seconds of it, and I was like, okay, they should probably mute that.
So bad, so bad. But we'll talk about COD in a little bit. I've got some stuff to rail on that one. So, also on the side of Twitch things, guest star, which we talked a little bit about, a few episodes ago. Hint, hint, go check out those episodes. But we talked about, I want to say it was like episode 63.
It was like 62 or 63.
Yeah. I think we talked about this. So Twitch announced this guest star thing, which is great for podcasts. It's great for people that want to host shows. Essentially, they can bring people in and create a live show within the dashboard. Makes it very simple, simplistic. Which is nice. And Nigma, you already have this, right? So it's actually rolled out to everybody.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
it's as far as I know, it's rolled out to a lot of people. I don't know if it's rolled out to everybody. I'm pretty sure it is.
They said on their Twitter that it was global. So
was it global? Okay, yeah. I picked it. Or I noticed it the other day, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like we haven't heard anything. That's the biggest thing. Is like it's been what 2 months, 3 months since we heard about it, and then it just nobody ever said anything of it.
Not just that, but they also had a dedicated convention. A dedicated convention to talk about the new things that are coming, and this wasn't even anywhere out there. Right. So, congrats, good job there.
So we got buy an ad.
GG. Yeah.
But so anyway, so that also happened, and that is a great feature. I mean, it really is like the ability to make podcasting easy, especially when you have services that shall not be named, the one we're using, that decides it wants stuff.
Like, does it look like nice? Is it like the layout like on the actual stream. I actually have never seen
Yeah,
it used, so I
so
don't know like if it
yeah, the way it works
people
is
stream.
yeah, basically the way it works is it's just another window. Like you would capture it just like I'm capturing through Discord right on here
Yeah.
and grab it that way. It brings them in,
Yep.
and then you can place them on your stream where you want through OBS, and it just gives you a browser source. It's no different, but it allows you to, instead of like here where we have to create a code that's going out to two different, right now, 2 different or 3 different streams. This is just, you're just bringing somebody in, and and they're able to actually, you give them a code and it boots in, and it literally, it runs off their camera, it runs off their stuff. So it's very simplistic, which is actually impressive.
The impressive thing that I saw for it as well is like, because you can invite anybody on it. It's not just like people specifically in your group. You can invite, you can have viewers that request access to be a guest star, right? Like, because of that, you don't know exactly what you're going to be bringing on. If they've got a couple of safety features, which I think are really good. They've got like a
back
intro
room,
studio. Yeah, they've got like a back room like studio that you can just like vet the people before they get on. And on top of that, you can like, if you have a guest star that vets through that, and then they're being an asshole on the podcast, right? And they're just saying a bunch of stupid shit.
Yeah.
You can report that person without reporting the person doing the podcast or doing the main show, right? So you can report the individual people rather than having to report the main channel, which I thought was kind of cool.
Oh, that is dope.
Oh, it's nice. It's a very
actually really cool.
It's a smart safety feature that I usually would think Twitch would kind of overpass and just be like, whatever, invite whatever you want in.
Wrong.
So,
it's definitely a huge thing for podcasters on Twitch for sure. Like, I think it's a good step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that they also announced is pin chat and streamer tagging.
The streamer tagging, you can now, I think, releasing in December, you can tag other Twitch streamers in your title.
Yes.
So, like,
can you do that on YouTube?
I meant to test it out now with their handles.
I think it is a feature it's a feature that I think they talked about. I don't know if it necessarily rolled out with the handles, but I know that like right now we've been doing it being featured, so we'll have to try it. Scruffy, the next time
I know
we
you
do
can tag people like in chats now with the handles, so that's nice.
Yeah.
So,
and then don't you guys, haven't you, I thought like 99% sure, didn't you have Scruffy's name in your title the other day, Sin? And I'm pretty sure I clicked on it and it took me to Scruffy's channel.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I don't know if I had at Scruffy, but maybe I did. I don't know. I'm shit. I barely remember what I did.
It wasn't last night. It was a couple of streams like last week sometime.
Really see if that works.
Yep.
That'd be sweet.
But it's cool. Again, all of these things, the pin chat, all of this stuff is all movement in the right direction for Twitch, which is great, right? Great. Microsoft now gets to buy a functional company instead of a semi-functional company. No, but it's these are all good, positive movement things. Why this stuff was not showcased at TwitchCon, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't get
really
why
doesn't.
why you don't talk about
convention and
this.
not announce anything.
Like,
It's dumb.
and also
they were still too busy
incentive.
retooling their ad.
Well, yeah, well that's the other thing that they decided to also, obviously there's now more ad incentives. So congrats, continue running ads, guys. Like that's what they're.
Yeah, so if you guys are on my channel and then next podcast when you're on the Twitch or the pre-patch podcast Twitch channel, please don't get mad at us if you have 8 minutes worth of ads. I'm sorry.
Not our fault. We can't do anything about it.
We'll do our best to do pre-roll ads. Which I forgot to do tonight. So if you guys are getting ads, you can yell at me tonight. But yeah, hopefully you guys aren't getting spammed with ads during the podcast. This is one of the biggest contention points that I have for Twitch right now, and it's just like it's the stupidest thing. Like when it comes down to advertisements, people don't want to sit there and watch 8 fucking ads. Dude, I'm sorry. That's gonna send people away from my fucking podcast, right? You're taking 8 minutes worth of content out of my podcast. 8 minutes is an entire section for us in some instances.
Yeah, it's
just crazy.
I'm not kidding you. I started on one person's stream, and it's someone I don't subscribe to. It's nobody in our little group. It's part of my work that I went in. I didn't subscribe to, and I'm not joking. It was 17 ads, and it was 24 minutes long.
Wow,
yeah, it's crazy.
And I
was on
TV show.
I was on Graphics' channel the other day, and yeah, Like legitimately during the middle of his fucking, like he was sitting there talking to me, and then all of a sudden 6 minutes worth of ads. I was like,
Yeah, immediately after that, he went to contemplate switching to YouTube. Immediately after that.
I don't know why they
crazy,
don't
dude.
just have it reversed, right? Like where the ad goes up into the top right hand corner, and you know, you play up
that's
there.
what they talked about it at one point. They were like, well, what we'll do is instead of having the advertisements going on over everything, we want to have it so that like the advertisement goes on everything, but you can still see and hear what's going on in the background over in a smaller window. And I get why they don't have it in a smaller window, right? It's because advertisers want as much screen space as possible, right? The more screen space they have, the better they feel.
Or at least have some form of like a skip button or something like YouTube.
Or just
does.
give me
Like,
audio, man. Like I don't even necessarily. I asked a question in chat today to somebody, and I swear to God, I think Twitch knows when you ask a question, because as soon as I asked it, fucking, I got hit with four minutes of ads. I was like, well, now I got to retype the fucking question, look like a dumbass because you answered it, and I didn't get to hear it. So
whatever. Didn't they talk about doing like banner ads, like banners that go across the bottom of the screen?
They talked about it at one point, yeah, but I don't think it ever went anywhere. Yeah. Again, what you guys got to understand is, again, like when it comes to like banners and advertisements and everything like that, I'm sure Senna knows because he's been in the he's been in that instances of the business, right? When it comes to banners and advertisements, the bigger the advertisement, the more presence you're going to have. The bigger the presence you have, the more money you're going to make, right? Or you're possibly going to make, right? It's all a fucking up in the air.
YouTube still uses the banner system.
Yeah, it's all who
they
draws
use the banner
eyeballs
system and the advertising system on the
Twitch
videos
does
as well.
have the banner system. They have it where it pushes the stream up and it comes up from the bottom. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's like you check it in your settings if you want that to happen.
I have not seen that.
Yeah. It's a thing. Some people use it. I don't know if there's actually even any incentive to use it. I'm sure maybe it's like a couple pennies.
No, not anymore. Now it's life changing. It's like $69,900 or something like that.
So yeah, Lumi is saying that right now the banners are playing on my stream right now. They're not.
Where are they at? We'll wave to them, Lumi. Tell us where they're at. We'll wave.
We'll point down to them. You know,
wave up. So it's
crazy, dude. I don't understand what they're doing. Like nobody
know what they're doing. They just want
nobody on the earth was like, hey, you know what? I really want to watch, instead of my favorite streamer, 8 minutes worth of useless fucking advertisement.
Well, the crazy thing about it too is
the content I came here for.
We still don't get credit for that. Like if the ad rolls and you don't push the ad roll button, you don't get credit for it. If they have to force the ad, you don't get shit for it. The banner ad you're seeing right now, we're not getting paid for that.
The worst part is like right now I'm looking at my my Twitch back or quick actions. I don't have the ability to do a pre-roll ad. It's grayed out right now.
Nice. So
I can't do pre-roll ads even if I wanted to.
With all that ad money that you're getting, why not give us the ability to, I don't know, play music on our stream, pay for the DMCA rights so we don't have to worry about having to have a split VOD shit out and do all that crap. Like that would be great. Like allow people to do that, but no, they don't want to do it. Which segue, YouTube is
hopefully YouTube does
kind of. So they're if you're on the YouTube side, for us over here on the YouTube side, it's a bonus. Have you gone and looked at like the music that we're able to play like in their little system?
There's a list of music that you're allowed to play, but the new thing that they pushed forward is like portioning out revenue based off of how much, like you can use like a modern like rapper pop song in your videos and stuff, and depending on the portion that you play of that, instead of it just flagging the video altogether, DMCA, and it's taking all of your revenue away, it's going to take a percentage of the revenue based on how much of the song you play and stuff. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, or it gives you the right to directly on YouTube purchase the right to use that song, and then you can get full revenue from the video.
Is it the song or the artist royalties?
It's song royalties, so it's by the individual song.
So how much is that? I've not seen that. So please.
I have no clue about the details. I haven't looked into it because I am a poor little baby boy that does not need the newest Rihanna track in his videos. I will
I
just keep using.
Can't imagine. I've got to imagine it's got to be astronomically high. Like it can't be
I don't
cheap.
think it's astronomically high, but
I
I
don't think
saw
it's
the prices.
astronomical because I think YouTube has made a deal with some of these like
Yeah.
record
That's
labels and
what-
stuff to front part of the cost.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. Is like you got to remember when it comes to actual like licensing for songs and such, you're not paying the individual artist. You're paying the people that license that artist, right? You're paying.
Oh yeah, you're paying.
whoever
Yeah, you're paying the label maker, the labels,
Yeah,
all that shit.
you're paying the labels and everything like that. And when it comes to labels, they also conglomerate into their own specific label like hierarchies as well. So you're paying one license more or less for a shit ton of fucking music. But it is a decently high price as well, because like when we were looking at it for our online radio station way back in the day, this was like back in 2010 11 somewhere, 2012 or 13 probably, but when we were looking at it, it was like 5,600 somewhere around there for licensing on playing any music pretty much from that specific license provider, right? So it's an astronomical price, but it's not unattainable. But I'm sure that they probably also charge like people like Twitch or not people, companies like Twitch or YouTube probably more for them being a company.
So
rather than,
this
like,
has nothing to do with YouTube Music, right?
No.
Okay.
This is
Which
just
is-
something to allow creators to not get pinged for having a snippet of something whenever they're playing a GTA.
Right.
Which is also stupid. Like the fact that if you do have YouTube Music, like to me, you should be able to play that music. I'm already paying for the music. I'm paying for the right to listen to the music, and I'm paying. And like, I don't know. I know their argument. Their argument's like, well, you didn't pay for the right to distribute the music. And
Something
people,
they could have done there, you know? I
Yeah,
feel like
their argument is that you're being
YouTube-
paid.
yeah,
Essentially.
you're demonstrating. Yeah, I get it. You're people. Their argument will always be that you're coming to watch. It's the same argument that Nintendo brought out for a while, and they lost when they were like, "Oh, people are coming to watch, the game, and they're not buying the game because they don't want to." And it
Exactly.
quickly became like, "No, people are buying the game because people are watching the game being played and they want to go experience it." So, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's whatever. I mean, hey, it's a step in the right direction again. I think this is all a dumbass kind of whole thing where we are being, you have to, as a creator, you're like, okay, cool, let me go find like. All these, when I can literally go and tune into a live right now on YouTube that's literally playing all the top hits of music 24/7 going nonstop. And as long as they don't stop that thing, I don't think they're going to get DMCA'd. And I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's kind of crazy. So, but hey, move in the right direction. Congratulations. I'm happy for them. So, because I think at Facebook, right? Facebook, you can just play. But didn't they pay for the rights? Period?
Yeah, Facebook has paid for the entire license essentially. So as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, they've essentially just gone in and said, "Hey, we're just going to fork over the money for the entire license. Anybody streaming on our site can play any music that they want because we have all the licenses." So
like
they've
probably
gone
paid.
in and basically said, "What's that?"
I would say they probably paid for like 14 streamers or so, right? Because I mean that's all that's streaming on that platform.
Probably, yeah, roughly, yeah.
Oh man.
Right now, the creator music thing on YouTube, by the way, is to a select group of streamers in the U.S., and they will be expanding it out into 2023. So it's not officially available yet, but they are working on pushing it global by 2023.
Have you gone in though? Because on the I'm not saying describe that, but like on YouTube side, there is like a list of YouTube approved music.
Yeah, but this is different.
I know this
creator-
is. I didn't know if that stuff was DMCA though. Is that
It is
music
not.
that they
that's
agree?
all. Anything in that category, you're free to use whatever you want.
Yeah, and anything in the studio content or the studio area, like the audio library that you have, you can use for whatever. This is entirely separate as far as I'm aware, at least.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Creator music's going to be a completely new thing, and it'll, like I said, it'll give you the option to either buy the license outright or make it so that you split revenue with the license holder, depending on what you want to do. And
Well, there
some
you
of the
go.
tracks on there, they said, will also be free. So they're going to be expanding their music library with these new licensing agreements. So that's kind of cool.
Well, awesome. Well, there you go.
See what all comes to it.
Both positive movements in the live streaming world. So good job, Twitch. Good job, YouTube.
Yeah.
Making positive moves. All right.
Yeah.
So moving on to games that we've been playing. We're going to Bill. I'm going to have you go last since it kind of segues into a topic that we're going to talk about
Yeah,
anyway.
that's fine. Do you think?
With that one, but I'm going to start off with Mr. Enigma. You were playing I always want to say unleveling, and I know that's not right. It's
Unleveling.
Unleveling. Yep.
Just an entire game. You start at 100 and you unlevel yourself.
Yeah, you
from
unlevel
100 to
yourself.
0.
No
The
game.
Benjamin Button of games.
So, tell us about the Unliving.
Yeah. Unliving is one of those games that I talked about. It was probably the start of the year, if I remember correctly. There was a demo on the
I remember
Steam Summerfest or something like that. And it's a necromancer game. It's one of the better necromancer games, I think, in my opinion, that I've found for a while, ever since like Diablo 2. Granted, it has its issues. There are a couple of complaints that I have with it, but all in all, like when it comes down to like the actual necromancer, like fantasy of necromancer, right? You have everything checked off. You have evil powers, you have fucking poisons, blood drains, everything like that. But most importantly, you have a fucking actual army, not just like 3 or 4.
Wait,
You
is
have
it
an army.
it's a
of-
fucking
of
army?
undead that you can summon. A fucking army,
a
yes.
fucking army,
Yes,
that's weird.
They
They
bend each other over
procreate.
every once in a while.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
Well,
just-
with all the
Yep.
skeletons, I would hope they know how to bone.
They got some
Ah,
boners in there.
there it is. Too bad this wasn't
But
episode
yeah, no,
69.
it's a really fun game. I'm surprised that you haven't played it, Dias, and I think this would be right up your alley. It's got kind of the same thing going for it that oh fuck, what was that? What's that one
Hero
that
Siege.
it's not Hero Siege.
It looks like Hero Siege.
It does look like Hero Siege for sure. It's got that kind of cell shaded
Bro, who
Pixel-
knows, man? I've played so many of these
cartoonish,
types of
pixelated.
games. You could take a fucking rock and throw it at a wall and it hit one. Yeah.
It's the dead cells, the one behind your head right there.
This doesn't look like this is not like Dead Cells.
The gameplay in it is exceeding like Dead Cells, in my opinion. Yes, it is.
It's not 2D. I mean, it's not side platform.
It's not side scrolling.
That's what I mean.
It's more of a top down, but yeah, it's a fun game, man. Like I had a lot of fun with it. It's again, it plays into the necromancer fantasy where you just summon hordes upon hordes upon hordes of undead. I don't think there's a limit as to how many you can actually summon. So if you go through an entire level, you can just keep summoning them as long as you keep them. And
Does the game get chuggy.
so far I haven't seen it get chuggy. I think the most that I had summoned was about 250. The problem that I have with the game right now is it's in early access. Not a big issue, right? But the problem with it is like right now the AI for the undead is extremely shitty.
That was
Like
a problem
the AI,
too. I remember.
yeah. The AI at times you'll tell it to attack and they'll go and they'll run at things and then they'll just stop. And
They're
they'll stand there
skeletons,
and
man.
get
What
you.
do you want? They're not the fucking geniuses.
So there's some issues with it. Obviously, that's one of the biggest ones because again, like you yourself as a necromancer are not powerful enough to do anything. So you're relying entirely on your undead horde, right, to do a lot of damage. When they don't do that and they just sit there and die, it makes runs extremely difficult, right? Because once your enemies are dead, or once your army's dead, it's just you. There's no way for you to resurrect things after they've been killed. There might be later on once you unlock some powers, right? But yeah, once the undead have been redeaded, I guess you can
Redeaded.
redeaded. Once the undead have been redeaded, they can't come back to being undeaded.
I guess not.
So it's got there are some issues for sure. Other than that, really the biggest ones that I've ran into was the AI on the undead, and then there was a couple of instances where like just stupid shit, like I'd get stuck in a wall, or I'd get too close to like the sides where the trees and stuff are. If you're watching the live show right now, I got like close to one of those trees and I got stuck in it somehow, and there was no way for me to get out of it. It's like the invisible box like trapped me. So it's just got some issues with it right now. I think they're easy issues that they could iron out pretty quickly. But yeah, other than that, like it really is an enjoyable game. It's extremely hard, and I don't know if it's extremely hard because of the AI issues, or if it's just extremely hard because it's extremely hard. But
Is it a
Was there
roguelike?
difficulties? Like, do you set that?
What's that?
Do you set up difficulties?
No, right now it's only got one difficulty. They plan on adding in, I think, 2 or 3 more difficulties, but you have to go through each difficulty in order to unlock the next difficulty.
Like a new game plus type deal.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it? And it's
So-
a roguelike, or like is every
It is
run
a
different?
roguelike.
Okay.
It is a roguelike. Every run that you go through, enemies are put in different areas. It still looks the same, like the map itself still looks like this, right? But like the enemy placements and like camp placements and everything like that, as well as your blood abilities and your necromancy abilities, those are all randomized. So
And then is it
it's really
as you die you love you, so like
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
getting
the-
more, you're getting more powerful.
The more
Yeah.
the further that you go into the actual map, the more that you will gain these souls. I think you can just barely see it up in the top right hand corner. There's like souls, there's bones, and I can't remember what the other one was called, but it's an ability or a currency that you use to unlock abilities that you can then randomly obtain inside the world. There are abilities that you can unlock just straight off the bat, which is used you use the souls to unlock those. But yeah, it's good so far for it being in early access. I think that it runs really well. Other than of course, as I said, the AI issues with the undead. But I think it's worth it, and it's only like I think at most I think it's $15. I think I got it on sale for like 12 because when they released it, it had like a 20% discount or something like that. But for $15, like it seems like it's going to be a good one.
Dope.
A good one to pick up.
Nice.
Very nice.
Especially if you're into roguelikes and you're into necromancy.
I've got too many. I got Cult of the Lamb. I got this. I got fucking.
I still need to finish Cult of the Lamb, man. I'm like on the last doorway.
Roguelikes are like is the genre that just keeps giving.
It really does, man.
One.
Yeah, have you guys ever heard of Peglin?
Yes,
I have
Peglin
heard
is
of it,
amazing.
yes.
That game is
Peglin is amazing.
amazing.
It's one me and Britt just play on the Steam Deck
Oh
in
my
our chill time.
God, dude, it's
It's
Peggle,
also
but
in
with
early
like
access. Maybe I'll talk about that
RPG
next
elements.
week.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll talk about that one next weekend.
Scruff, I'm gonna move you to. You're gonna go next because talk about this. What is this game? Road to Vostok.
Yeah, so this is not a game that I've been playing or anyone's been playing right now because it's a game that is in the works. It's just come out publicly. It's a game made by a Finnish ex-army officer. He's turned into an indie dev, and he's coming out with this new post-apocalyptic game. It's called Road to Vostok, I think.
Vostok, yeah.
Road to Vostok, and I'm talking like Daisy, like Stalker, even like some Escape from Tarkov vibes in this game from what he's toting and everything. And it looks really cool, man. I'm really impressed. It's a single player game, so don't like if you're looking for a new survival multiplayer game. It's not that. It's like I said, more along the lines of like what Stalker does with their single player like post apocalyptic titles. But it looks really cool. It's even it goes as far as like he's got a whole roadmap of like what he wants to do, and I know a lot of these titles they all have like their promises, their roadmaps and everything, but so far like this dude has lived up to his roadmap. Like he's got it. He started development I think in 2021, and from that roadmap like he's been providing like these goals. He's been showcasing these early access dev builds, and just each one has been like really showing off like what this game can be. It honestly just popped up on my radar like a couple days ago. I've never even heard of it, and I went back and looked, and like from everything that they've shown so far, like there's not too much, but I mean there's like 3 or 4 dev blogs now that show some pretty cool in-depth features and mechanics that this game's going to offer, and I think it just might be pretty cool. So like the whole reason I wanted to show it off just was to raise attention to it, because I am a big fan of these kinds of games. I know some others are as well in this community, so yeah, if we can just give this game some attention, I think this could be a really good one. My biggest hope that is it doesn't get washed away by all these other kind of similar games that are coming out that I think those were the games that came out in the Kickstarter generation of games, and the no hope, lost cause, survival games that had
Survive
so
the
many
Nights.
promises. Survive the Nights, Dead Matter, dude.
Yeah.
Even Dead Side, like everyone's
Dead
doing okay.
Side, yep.
It was that type of game. So I want this one to do good, and I think this guy deserves it too. As far as I know, it's just he might have a team. I haven't gone as far to look if he has an actual dev team or if it's just him, but so far I'm impressed. I'd like to see where this thing goes, and that's Road to Vostok. You can also wishlist it on Steam. It's already available to wishlist, so follow their journey, I guess, man. It looks pretty good.
Well, the good thing, I mean,
yeah, it
the
does look good.
good thing about Steam, I think specifically, Game Pass is getting there with their kind of showcase of stuff, but it does a really good job of curating these kind of things, like these indie titles that you may not see. They'll pop up from time to time. Like Marauders, you saw it where Marauders happened, and that a lot of people think that Marauders spent money on their influencer team, their influencer marketing. They didn't. Like that was just a game that influencers started to pick up and start playing. So it was completely free advertisement for them. So games like this will if it's good, obviously it will pick up steam. That's the biggest thing.
Definitely.
So okay, well, Road to Vostok. You can go take a look at that. All right. Well, moving on to this. So we have played, me and Scruffy. Real quick before I jump into this, Enigma and I played Paragon. We don't have any stream of it, but we played Paragon, by the way. And
it wasn't bad.
It's not terrible. It's
it wasn't bad. It was a lot better than the previous one that came. I can't
what was
remember.
that?
Do you remember
Predecessor?
that?
Predecessor.
Paragon?
Do what?
I'm sorry. What?
You played this? You played Paragon?
Yeah.
Isn't it an Epic exclusive?
No.
It's not.
It was okay. So Paragon was an Epic exclusive that went. It came out. Okay, it was an Epic exclusive that was Epic's MOBA. They killed it off because of Fortnite. And so once it died, then it just kind of stayed in limbo. Well, then they released. Then recently, 2 years ago, they released the rights to use these assets and make a game. There was like I think 3 companies that were making it. Predecessor was one, and then there was like two other ones. I don't know that never really kind of got to light. And then all of a sudden, Epic goes, so people actually want to play this game. And so then what they did was they said, okay, cool, we're going to fund one of them. It's not funded by Epic, but they're like, we're going to fund it by bringing it back on our store. And so now Paragon, the final fight, is back on Epic, but not an Epic exclusive.
The final fight.
Yeah, it's like the final, I think Paragon the final fight or something like that.
It's also on Steam though, as well.
But it is also on Steam.
It is on Steam, yes.
It is on Steam. So
I just wanted to make sure that this whole thing was sparked because I was surprised if it was an
Epic the Overprime.
That
Paragon the Overprime. Yeah, Overprime.
Okay. Makes sense.
So that is that's we played that. It's a thing. It's actually it's not bad. You can go try it out if you like. Paragon. It's a stripped down version.
I enjoyed Paragon when we played it on the Epic Store before the Epic Store turned shit. Right, like I enjoyed it when it was still being developed by Epic. Like it was good. It wasn't that terrible.
Those games last
they did
too
a really
long,
job
though.
with it, I think.
Fuck, they last too long. Those games last too long. Even for MOBA standards, they last a long time.
And the problem with it is that they wouldn't last long if fucking people just start fucking doing their goddamn job.
Well, it's a MOBA, man. What are you asking for? So asking too much there.
The weird part about it is that I'm not a melee fighter in League, but I love the melee fighters in Paragon.
Yeah, it is very odd. And I play ranged in this, and I don't play ranged in League, so we completely roll reverse. But the classes are fun. It's definitely a more skill based kind of thing. It's a pretty version of Smite without all. It's free. Yeah, it's free.
It is free to play.
Yep. So Paragon, go if you like those kind of things, go check it out. All right, so let's talk about this. So Scruffy and I, we talked about Did we talk about Call of Duty last time?
Yeah.
You did.
Yes,
We did, right?
Extensively.
Yes, we
It
did.
was
Yes, we did. Okay.
an
All right.
hour.
Okay, just making sure. All right. Well, we're gonna spend another hour. No, I'm just kidding. So Warzone 2, or 2.0, or whatever you want to call it, launched. And before we dive into here's what I want to say. It hit me yesterday as to how conditioned we are to just accept shitty fucking quality games that come out with just broken shit
Holy
everywhere.
shit.
Just hit you?
Everywhere. No, I'm just like not like it didn't just hit
We've
me.
been
Like
talking about
obviously
it for a while on the
right.
podcast of how conditioned
not-
we are in
it's-
this
it's-
generation of games
it's not
right
that
now.
it just hit me. It's just like I think this like continues to
He's-
reaffirm
He's finally opened his eyes, guys.
like how. No, I mean, again, I'm not saying like I didn't know this, but it's just like it blows my mind, and I think what made it open this wound back up was so the UI in this game fucking blows. It fucking sucks. It's the worst. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's shit. It's horrible, and okay. And that I'll pass on like a shitty UI. You hired the dude from Hulu to fucking make this thing. Like it's terrible, but. Then Warzone 2 comes out and we get an update and it breaks even more shit that wasn't broken before. And I'm just like, how the fuck does this get past Q&A? Like, I can't go and invite Scruffy to my group the normal way you would do it.
I don't know how much I can continue to say this. Expect the worst from Activision at any given time, and you won't be disappointed.
No, I'm not saying it, but it's not even just Activision though.
Disappointed, sir.
It's
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying I don't know why you're not expecting it.
well, it's not even just Activision though. Like so many companies just allow this stuff to be like, yeah, it's fine. Like it's okay. Like we already know, like it's fine. Like even to the fact of we're at a day and age where we can compress files that are a terabyte down into like a couple hundred megabytes. And this company chooses to go, nope, like we're not compressing shit. You're getting
Tarkov. Like for Tarkov is like 40 gigs or 50 gigs at most. This game blows it out of the water.
This game mode,
Was it at
170 gigs.
17 gigs.
No, 70 because
Jesus.
it's 117 preload. 117 preload. It is. There's another additional 60 gigs that you download an update.
Jesus.
It's 160 gigs for Warzone. Like
That's insane, dude.
it's crazy, and like I don't know. It just
Well, you know what they're saying though, right? They're like, we want the most premium players, the ones that can only afford a terabyte hard drive. For our game
you're
only.
gonna have you're gonna have to have
You're
that.
gonna need
Like,
a terabyte for our game alone.
you're gonna have to buy a PlayStation just to have this. Like that's it. Like you just have to have your own a Warzone based PlayStation. It's insane to me. But step aside from that. Let's talk about the game. So we played Warzone. I want to get Scruffy's impression first because this is his first step into Warzone period. So yeah. So what were your thoughts
The fall damage is nutty. By the way, you're barely dropping off these buildings and taking.
Oh yeah, you're.
I
But
haven't pulled a Tim yet.
if you look at the characters that you play though, like toward the end of this VOD, which we're not going to see, but I play this big, muscular, beefed up dude with like scars all over his fucking body, and he's like masked up, like he's gone through some shit, and you fucking stub your toe, and you're done. You're like, I'm down. And it's like, what the fuck?
I mean, I would. Some of your toes for real. Like, that's not. I still really haven't formed a true opinion yet. I'm still gauging on everything. Like I'm still going through it and experiencing new stuff each time. But the general loop of things, I do enjoy more than I thought, and I think I enjoy it more. Like I think I'm enjoying this more than I think I would have enjoyed Warzone 1. I like it. It feels more grounded from what I saw in Warzone 1. Obviously, I feel like that it has to do with just the basic movement and the way you get around the map. It doesn't seem as, I don't know how to explain what happens when watching Warzone 1. I just felt like I was watching like an action movie.
It's like you're watching cartoons, bro. Like you're watching, fucking Roadrunner, or Wile E. Coyote.
So playing this, I like the feel of it. I think the biggest pro to me is the map itself, Al Mazrah. I think they crafted it very nicely. They did a good job with it.
It's fucking big.
It is a very big map. And from what I've heard, that is to the downfall of some people. People are comparing it to like PUBG because you're not finding action like every constant second. But again, I like that. I don't like the very condensed
drop in and you're already getting shot as soon as your fucking feet touch the
which
ground.
it happens.
Apex style BR.
Yeah, man. It at least gives you like a chance to like breathe. And I think that is what turned me off of BRs for so long, because I had never truly played a BR since like the early days of Fortnite, which you didn't have that. And then Fortnite went all crazy mode too, and they started adding everything that you just, it was in your face, and you crashed there.
Yes, I was about to say. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, 80. Well, the Warzone's free, but the real game is $70, so $70 for that, boys and girls. Just congratulations. There you go. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
No, you're fine, man. So like I said, I'm still trying to form an opinion on it, but right now, learning it, it's fun, it's fresh. Not even going into the DMZ yet, just like with the Warzone side alone. I'm enjoying it, especially like just playing with like Sin and friends and stuff. It does bring me back to like the BR days that I enjoyed. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I think this Warzone is definitely has some opportunity, because from what I've heard, people are slowly but surely adapting to the way that you need to play in this Warzone. It definitely is different from everything that I've read and heard. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's pretty good, man. I think. Hopefully, maybe.
So, as someone that has played Warzone, I played the original. I played Blackout, which was the original one. Then I played.
Oh, I did play that for a second.
Yeah, and then I played Warzone official when it first came out. For a while, I actually enjoyed it, and then once it became Cartoon Network, I decided that I popped off of it. And coming into this, like I enjoy this Modern Warfare specifically because it is more slowed down. It is more grounded. It is like, it's still like grounded for Call of Duty, right? Like, because I know that Enigma will scoff and be like, "Motherfucker, you are running around, sprint, just nonstop running, and this is not tactical."
You guys going, "Oh, it's so much slower," and I'm like, "What?"
For Call of Duty, it is 100% so much slower. Like it's very slow.
Never like the true like speed of Call of Duties that you had back in the day. That's never gonna happen again. Like this is the new age.
But
adapt Enigma.
it's a very enjoyable experience for someone if you do like the older style, more boots on the ground kind of stuff. The other thing that I like about it too, and people are just fucking bitching. Okay, can I get to a spot where we just don't get fucking eliminated? The people are bitching about is the loadout situation. Like your loadout, and I will give that the loadout is somewhat confusing, because you'll go to a buy station to get your loadout, but you can only buy one gun. So you don't get to buy your loadout, which I'm happy with. But then there's loadout drops that you go to that also buy your loadout, or that give you your loadout. The problem that I have with that is that if you have a gun that you've gotten your loadout on, and then I want to get another loadout, it replaces all my guns and I lose all my ammo. Like, all of my ammo goes away. I don't know if it's a glitch. I don't know if it's an error, but like if I had an SM,
a glitch. Because even the buying a loadout is weird. It's a little glitchy. So I don't know.
So, but it just, they made it so now where like everybody is not just spawning in and immediately getting their loadout, because that's what it was. Like, it was just basically, how am I going to become, like, what am I going to get that's meta? What's the meta weapon? I'm just going to build that. I'm going to drop in, loot for 4 seconds, and then I've got the gun, and everybody is using the exact same gun. Like, it's no different. So this, they definitely paced it better. They made it so like, hey, you're going to use ground loot. Majority of the time you are using ground loot, which is great. They made it so that you're not going to just look for attachments, which a lot of people don't like. Also, by the way, what you're seeing with the stuttering, that's not the stream, that's the game. There are parts of the map that like fucking, in this bridge that to my right over there, if you cross that bridge, everything goes to like fucking claymation style, like literally just like it's like 2 frames a second. It's fucking nauseating.
It's hard to watch, man. Yeah.
It's bad. So I don't know if it's a memory leak issue, but hey, $70 game. It's polished. It's perfect. I don't know. It's Warzone. Like but it's Warzone for people that would prefer a PUBG style, like more boots on the ground. You're not fucking slide canceling. You're not bunny hopping. You're not like, I will say it is a more tactical Warzone.
I miss PUBG.
In my mind, you might like this. I mean, they have a third person version as well. I've not dabbled.
I don't have a terabyte hard drive to spare.
Oh, that's okay. Well, yeah, yeah, you're shit out.
He's not elite enough to play this game.
Yeah, they're poor shaming me.
So, the one other thing too that I wanted to touch base on is the proximity chat. So Scruff, I don't know what are your feelings on proximity chat, because I got some feelings, man.
That was so bad, dude.
I don't have anything wrong with it other than you're going to run into a-holes that love to
Gamer words.
Or gamer words, the best way to put it. Yeah. Everything else, I think proximity chat is always a fun feature if it's just used nice.
So
yes, but we're the gaming community. It's never going to be used nice.
This is COD, so you're already accelerating that type of mentality and behavior, but it does have some fun and interesting I don't know, interactions.
I was laughing last night when I was watching you and Sid, and there was just two people like having a conversation, like, "Oh, hey, how's your
full-blown
grandma?"
regular conversation,
"Oh, she's
bro.
great, man.
Like,
how's your mom?"
yo,
"Oh,
when
she's
is
amazing, man. We had like some codboard tonight for dinner, Pepsi. It was amazing."
Yeah, when is that? When did Bill want that Excel document again? I need to get that. It's like, are y'all talking Excel inside a COD? Like, what are y'all doing? Like,
But so the thing is, like, you do have the option to turn it off. So, like, if you don't want proximity chat, like, you can turn it off.
Yeah, but the problem that I have with that is that it is a big function of the game to knowing where you're at. Like right now, you can't. I don't know if you can tell in the stream, but it popped up in the left underneath the map, a little red voice, like there, and that was somebody talking. That lets me know that there's somebody around, like, because they're talking proximity chat.
And that is solely up to that person though, if they want to talk in game, and that they automatically should know that that's going to give them away.
So
and vice versa, like if you want to keep proximity chat on to have that extra like intel, then you're more than welcome to. But Warzone 1 never had it, so if you didn't want to play with proximity chat, then you're just giving up a little bit of intel that you possibly can have, I guess.
Also, guys, my map, that's not a glitch in the Matrix or in the stream. It's the game. The $70 game right there, boys. The map glitching.
That's not like a UAV or anything, right? That's just
nope.
a map glitch.
That's just the map doing that. So yes, sir.
Love it.
So proximity chat, where I have an issue, right? There's three things on it. One, my son. I'm playing with my son, and I'm running around, and I get into an area where I hear a familiar sound. I'm an adult. I know what this sound is.
Oh boy.
I know. I'm like, wait a second. So then it is hardcore pornography. And I'm like, oh my God. And I see my son's like on the map. I see my son, like he's far enough away he can't hear it. Like he's a good like 200 yards.
Move the other way.
And he's like running. He's like, I'm coming, Dad, don't worry. I am hunting in these buildings as fast as I fucking can to try to figure out where this dude's at and silence him permanently. And I'm just like, this is okay. Like, and it's just, I don't like, so that, and then there's the dude that was playing a fucking full-blown music video in the gulag, so that was fun. And then there's the guy that's just what was it, Call Me Maybe, I think, or something like that. Then there's
Shaggy.
Oh, Shaggy, yeah, that's right. And then there's the guy that Enigma heard, who was just dropping the N-word everywhere.
Yeah, that was great. Like legitimately, I joined to the stream to just end. I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
So rough. And the final thing, right, that sent me over the edge with this was that, and it's Tim the Tatman and Ninja's credit. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they literally turned this game into pay to win. They were in a game. Tim was the last man alive. He got surrounded by an entire squad. They were about to kill him. And Ninja comes on and tells Tim, tell them I will pay them $250 each if they leave you alone. And the guy goes, and Tim tells them, and they go, okay, deal, bet. And sure enough, they paid him. They paid 4 people $250,000, $250 a piece.
Our game, Sin. I thought you had a disposable income.
I'm not to get a Warzone win.
Yeah, you're not elite enough apparently for this game.
Like,
terabyte hard drive or something.
The fuck was that? Like, I'm just like, you got to be kidding me with this.
That's funny though, man. To me, I don't know. There's like some interactions that this proximity chat sets up that I think is just kind of a funny meme. Funny memes.
I think it kind of pushes into the same vein of like the people that continue to argue for like voice chat inside of like League, right? Like it's not going to do anybody any good to have voice chat inside of League.
Hell no.
It's going to be bad.
No,
it's going to be terrible.
It's
no,
just...
but that's, I don't know. That's different. That's a team-oriented game. You're gonna have people like just trash talking left and right. This is like, you're gonna have trash talking in the base COD game, but in Warzone you're gonna have people just like bullshitting and memeing and kicking it, and then you're also, of course, going to have your regular COD players that.
I was about to say, I heard a lot more of the bullshitting and memeing last night.
Yeah, it was not that.
You're not going to have those. You 100% are. But
I agree with Deathcoms. I don't like I don't agree with the proximity chat. I don't think that. I think that the benefit that's there is well overweighed by the negativity that kind of is involved in what can kind of happen in this stuff. Yes, it can create good content, and I definitely get that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the
culture kind of ruined this kind of thing, though, because
it's
everybody
the
wants
same...
to make an ass of themselves and
either
get a streamer banned or make it like
it's
the next highlight reel.
It's the same situation that I had with global comms and voice comms in New World, right? Like it was a good idea, like great, oh okay, cool, yeah, great, we can have voice comms, we can hear people when they're in town, and then you're like, oh, that's a great idea in your head, and then you walk into town and you hear people dropping the N-bomb, doing exactly what Sin was saying. You'll hear like hardcore pornography going on in the corner. You'll hear the 5-year-old yelling at his mom and over here like, "Mom, I don't want to go to bed. I want 5 more minutes." And you're just like, "Oh my god, dude!"
Is like give like you some feature to like mute nearby players, like have like a hotkey or something, not just a whole like on and off switch, because I think that will definitely help. So like if you are near somebody that you don't obviously want to hear them, just mute it for that time being, and then unmute them after
there was a feature that was actually in one of the original CODs. I can't remember which one it was, but it actually was a grenade or like something that would basically turn proximity chat on for a short period of time. So like you would throw it and you could hear comms around you. That I don't have a problem with that necessarily, right? Because at that point, then I can use it to my advantage when that's when I want to. I don't have to listen to fucking the whole entire lobby sitting there arguing over whatever. And I do not get the idea of just open mic, man. Like if you want to chat, like I'd push to talk on these things. You're just talking about your mama's foot fungus from Thursday. Like
their mics are literally dog shit.
Oh god, they're so bad.
But it is terrible.
So bad. So bad.
It's the Turtle Beach headsets that they get from Walmart.
It is. They stuff it in their mouth and just ingest it. I don't understand. But the worst thing too is the pregame lobbies, dude. You into a pregame lobby. It's just everybody talking. It's like you're in a freaking like a gyrocopter or something. You can't even understand.
So loud. It's so loud. The other option, the other thing to this too was DMZ. We did play some DMZ as well. I don't know. Like it just DMZ. What DMZ is?
Extra steps, man.
Yeah, what it's supposed to be is it's supposed to be their version of Tarkov. But it's not.
I don't think it ever had a chance of being a Tarkov.
No. Absolutely not.
It's from an Activision, like there was never a chance, or Infinity War, whatever, never a chance for them to make anything up to the standards of Tarkov. I don't think they were trying for it to be Tarkov, to be honest. I think they were trying to just make a game that could pull some of those people.
I don't even think they did that. I think that this was another version of a more playable thing to test out Warzone, that they were like, oh, you know what? We can just throw it in there. Like, Yeah, no, it's because if you look at it, like it's the AI. It has strongholds, which is what the stuff is that we would do normally. So you know, and then they put that into Warzone. Like it's just a testing ground for Warzone. The thing I don't like about it, and this will be the last thing we'll say about, at least I'll say about Call of Duty, is I don't like the fact that they wrapped up stuff that for you to get guns in Warzone or the regular mode. It's easier. It's not the only way, but it's easier for you to do it via DMZ. But they don't tell you necessarily how to do it in DMZ. You have to figure out how to do it in DMZ. I don't like that. Like I don't like that. That's the case.
I'm kind of for it, kind of against it. I just want it to be like another alternative. I don't want it to be an easier way to get something. I'd like it to be like easy on both fronts of getting it in the regular mode or vice versa, getting it in DMZ. Because I did play today where I got the new gun and I extracted with it, and it was actually pretty enjoyable. I like went into this radiation zone, took out the dudes, took out the big boss, took his gun, made it to the extraction, and I was out solo, and it was actually pretty fun. So it can be a fun experience. I don't see it. I don't want to do that every time to get this new, like the new features. Like I don't want that to be the only way, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So,
It's something. It should just be another alternative, another route to take. But
well, there's a game that gives you lots of routes to takes, and it's Bill's been playing it. And by routes, I just mean flinging axes and chains at people's faces. And it is God of War Ragnarok. Now, I will say just real quick before we jump into this, we are showing live footage of the game very early on, very, very, very early on. So there are not
We've skipped any of the early story beats. This is just like walking through the first dungeon and stuff. So there should be minimal spoilers. But if you want a complete dry experience from like going into it, if you haven't gotten your hands on it yet,
I want a dry experience going into it, baby.
Dry like your scotch.
That is disgusting.
Do you really?
You say that until you have it, and I promise you, it's not enjoyable. It's like sandpaper, bro.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so you can turn audio on only if you want to, or skip past this, you know, for a little bit. But we are going to be talking about God of War Ragnarok, and we will not be giving spoilers away, just so you know. Like that is a key thing here. So, all right, Bill, take it away. God of War Ragnarok, buddy.
Yeah. So far, I'm probably about a quarter of the way through the game so far, and it is a very pleasant experience with a few caveats that have come out of nowhere because I don't remember them being issues in 2018. But as far as comparing it directly to God of War 2018, it takes all of the good stuff from that and it's built upon it significantly. It takes where you got to basically in the end game of 2018 and doesn't nerf you too much. So you don't have like all of your armors and stuff that you had from 2018, but you still have the axe, you still have the blades of chaos, and all of that stuff. So it still has more combat options for you right off the get-go than what 2018 did, which I think is a really good thing. One of my biggest gripes about God of War 2018 was that game was brutally difficult in the very beginning of the game, especially if you're playing on some of the harder difficulties. Like the beginning of that game was harder than like some of the end game segments, just because you were so limited on the tools that you had, and they threw a lot of stuff at you right at the beginning. I didn't think it was very well paced. This game here does have you extremely well paced going forward, and it actually kind of like gets you used to both forms of combat, both the axe and the blades of chaos, and gives you a feel for how the game's going to run instead of just like throwing massive amounts of enemies or even just like elite difficult enemies at you. So already a big step up there. And then as I've went through the game, they've expanded on a lot of the core gameplay mechanics from 2018. They've simplified the armor systems so that armors,
Thank God.
it still goes off of like the Destiny style, like your armor and equipment determines what your character level is, and you need to get better equipment to get your character level up. But it is significantly more simplified than what it was in 2018. A lot more streamlined. They've made it so that a lot of the stuff that were relics in 2018, like the special moves that you had to equip to a relic slot to be able to use. I think they were called the runic attacks in
Yeah.
2018. They're just part of the skill tree at this point that you just need to unlock through gaining XP. So I thought that was really cool. A lot of them are still on cooldown base, but it is not something that you have to like pick and choose what you want. You just need to be able to unlock it in the skill tree and then play around those cooldowns. Another really good quality of life, in my opinion.
Nice.
If you liked the combat of 2018, there's, for better or worse, little to no change in the combat styling. The axe throws feel exactly the same. All of the melee moves feel very similar, with a few slight variations that are just for quality, just kind of some quality of life changes. And there are quite a few repeat enemies that I've come across so far. Obviously, you're going to have your Draugrs. You're going to have your Reavers, stuff like that. Like your basic core enemies. But they've expanded out the enemy base a significant amount just from what I have played. And the best thing about that is it's also went to the bosses. The amount of bosses and the unique bosses have gone up a lot since 2018, which was probably my biggest downside of God of War 2018 in general. Was the enemy variety and boss variety was extremely low in that game. This game, it's still a bit on the lower side. I'm looking forward to seeing how much more it expands out, but it's at least better than what 2018 was.
How far into it are you?
I'm probably about a quarter of the way through, if I had to venture a guess. I've played for about 14-ish, 15-ish hours. Maybe about getting closer to the halfway point.
What difficulty are you on?
The second hardest. So give me a challenge, I think is what it's called. I'm not playing on Give Me God of War mode. I don't enjoy that difficulty mode in this game.
Yeah, well, I because I wanted to give people an idea of hours to difficulty level, because it does, at least in 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. So
definitely
whatever the second hardest difficulty mode is, right off the go. I'm not playing on Give Me God of War mode because I feel like the difficulty scaling in that is too spongy, and it just makes things take too long. And then if you mess up once, you die, and you have to start it all over. I don't find it fun. It's an appropriate challenge where I've got it at right now.
So complaints that I've seen about this game, and I don't agree with them.
I've got a few myself, so I'm interested to hear what you've heard.
The main one is that people are saying that it feels like this is just this doesn't feel like necessarily a new game from a looks, feel, overall. Like you were talking about the weapon attacks, it all feels the same. And people are saying well, this is just developed on the same engine that the 2018 was, or I'm just playing 2018 or 2.0 or whatever, and they're
just thinking that it's like a DLC. It should have been just like a DLC or something.
I mean, I've not heard anybody say DLC, but that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting out of it, is that it should have just been a DLC. For it.
So the biggest thing that I want to say about this is, if you like 2018, you are going to like Ragnarok, because it does everything that 2018 did better, and it's a more enjoyable gameplay experience. That being said, if you didn't like 2018, this plays very similar to 2018, to a point where you're not going to get any joy out of it if you did not enjoy, or even if you just kind of were on about 2018. If you're expecting big changes, you're not going to get it. And honestly, the closest thing I can compare this to with 2018 is almost like a PS2 style sequel. I tend to go back to Ratchet and Clank, because those were my favorite games growing up.
Good games.
But it's a sequel similar to going from Ratchet and Clank 1 to Ratchet and Clank 2 to Ratchet and Clank 3. The gameplay itself is pretty copy pasted on there, but the world that you are playing in, the environments, the quality of life changes do add to that experience, but it is still very close to similar to what the original source material is.
I feel like that was a big complaint people had about Spider-Man too. Like with Spider-Man and then Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Like you could have just had it in like a DLC.
Well,
but
that's
I
like,
just
that,
I just
I
feel
don't
like
know.
people have
that's
gotten
a
a little bit too entitled when it comes to
Yeah.
what they expect from sequels these days. You're not going to get big
I
sweeping
wouldn't
changes.
go that far. I would say that people are expecting a lot more for $70 titles. Like that's my biggest thing is like when it comes to actual like uh, newer games, right? Like when it comes to like Witcher, you take Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and Witcher 3, right? That Witcher 1 was its own thing. And then a complete upgrade, complete remastering, and a complete fucking new system in Witcher 2. And then again, a complete reimagination of the entire franchise in Witcher 3, right?
Right.
Like you're getting your money's worth out of each one of those. But if like for instance, Witcher 3, the new Witcher 4 comes out and it's just Witcher 3, I'm gonna have an issue with that because it's like
well,
you-
what exactly would you want like to differentiate the titles? Like it
a
is
reimagination of whatever it is. Yeah, like if they had come out with this and they had completely reimagined the gameplay systems of it, like the attack systems or the attack animations are completely different. You know, you have a lot more focus on the blades, Kratos's blades rather than the axe in this one, right? Like that
Yeah.
that's where I would have went with
Well,
this,
they
considering
did expand on those mechanics. So as you can see, if you're watching it live, and you have the video on, they added a mechanic where you can freeze your axe and it'll enhance whatever the next attack that you do is. That's neat. There's similar mechanics with the Blades of Chaos where you can like grapple enemies with them and send fire down
saw
the
that,
chain and
yeah.
stuff like that. And they have expanded out those movesets, but the basics of the movesets are still very much the same.
That's, and I think that's where I have one of the biggest issues for me is again, like when it comes down to it, like to me, a lot of what you're saying is that it in my eyes it should just been a DLC. It should
So-
just been an extremely good DLC.
I can shed a little bit of light on this. Is that because while you guys have been talking, I've been looking this up because I wanted to get the answer for this. So God of War and God of War Ragnarok were developed on the same engine. You know, not necessarily a shocker, right? Like I mean, that's
Right.
a common thing.
you could tell.
They were developed on the
pretty
same
cool.
engine. Where people are getting a big issue is that they're saying that, like Enigma said, it's a $70 game. It's 2018. We're almost talking 5 years from the time that the original dropped till now. You know, so in that time frame, if we're using the same engine, we should have that the animations, the scene, some of the which I don't know, I can't speak to the scenery. I've not seen it. I don't want to know, you know, what, because I do want to play this on PC. But all of these things they feel like it's been reused, right? This is a conversation that has happened numerous times
It
with
happened
had
with
it.
Horizon
We've
Zero Dawn.
had
It
that
happened
conversation.
with
Yeah.
Elden Ring.
right. You know, so it's not the fault the company. Like I don't think a company is like if you're gonna make a sequel, you need to make fucking new engine, new everything because I mean, God, for Jesus Christ, Bethesda's still using the same fucking engine for all
Yeah,
their
I was about
games.
to say.
You know, I don't
I feel like-
necessarily have a big
Go ahead.
issue. All I was say is I don't necessarily have a big issue except for I don't know, like the price tag at $70, especially because the hike up to 70 now,
yeah.
like it adds a
It's just I don't know. They're asking for this small like hike, but it really is a big hike. Like for all these new titles, and if they are gonna like, I guess recycle some products, like I just don't see the purpose in it. I don't know.
And granted, I'm sure that the story is fucking phenomenal. Obviously, the
That's
first
where
story
I was
was
gonna
fucking
say
phenomenal.
is a lot of
And you move into like the Norse panthology and everything like that, and you're gonna have a lot of fucking storytelling that you can do, right? Like just
Yeah.
from what I've watched, there's a ton of stuff that I've been like, oh, that's cool that they added that. Oh, that's cool that they added that. I didn't think that they were gonna do that. Why'd they change that? That's pretty. That's an interesting fucking change, but okay, that sounds good. You know, it's just it's weird stuff, and I think it does well, and I think that's where they're leaning is that they're like, okay, well, yeah, 5 years, $70, but it's an entirely reimagined storyline. But I don't know.
It's the
It's
Sony
an-
formula. Sony
Yeah.
exclusive games tend to lean more heavily into graphical fidelity, and storytelling, cutscenes, and like environmental set pieces. Not necessarily like exploring those environmental set pieces, but just like the overall aesthetic and look of those, like the high quality polish of the environmentals tends to be where Sony funded games, Sony exclusives put their money. It's the same thing with The Last of Us. It's the same thing with God of War, the Uncharted games, that kind of stuff.
So my question is, in I don't know if this is like, we already talked about the him using his chain swords, right? Like that's
Yeah,
not really
that was something from 2018.
So moving forward, from what you've said, I think you said you were 14 hours into it, right?
Yeah.
Do they focus heavily on the chain swords, or is it still focused heavily on the axe?
It depends on the enemy. So that's part of the combat systems that they've expanded on. Certain enemies have certain elemental weaknesses and like resistances. Gotcha. So you're going to want to use the chain swords for fire weak enemies, the axe for ice weak enemies.
Well, that is kind of cool.
At least I think that's
they've also built up the fists so that you actually have a use for bare handing and bare fisting, because I think after early game in 2018 you didn't get that much. There was no really good reason to punch things. There are some enemies that are just resistant to damage overall, and you need to build that stagger bar up, and that is what the fists are good for.
I think that they kind of missed their chance for reintroducing the chain swords, because like in 2018 that was the whole thing, was like he put away his chain swords, right? He did away with that life, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously this is spoilers if you've not played the 2018, it's 5 years ago. Fucking go out and play it if you haven't. I'm sorry, don't listen.
Play it on PC. God, it's good.
play it on PC. If you haven't played it, this is your spoiler warning, right? Like him putting away those chain swords and kind of trying to adopt a new way of life was a huge step for Kratos, right? Like he went from being the god of fucking war to just being basically the dude that had a wife in the forest and it got taken away from him, right? And then he had to go through that whole process. I think they missed their chance of being like, this is reintroduced Kratos. He is now back to being the god of war. He's no longer using the axe as much. His main weapon is now the chain swords. He's back to using the chain swords again, right?
I think I think though that would diminish the overall arching story, because really the idea here that this is a Kratos story is it's not. Like it's Kratos as a dad. It's Kratos as, you know, it's our what's his name? Atreus. It really is Atreus' story. And again, this is 2018 stuff, right? Like we're not spoiling any of this, but as you play through that game, you realize very much that this is Atreus' story. This is, yes, you're playing it through the eyes of Kratos, but it's really Atreus' story. So I think
it is still a Kratos story. Like in the end, it was still a Kratos, a story of a journey from Kratos essentially mourning his wife's departure and trying to get back into, you know, his life as a god after that, right? Like the only reason why he stopped using those swords and the only reason why he left that life was because he had a wife all of a sudden, you know, like he took that wife, he took that new life, and that was where it came from, right? Was that entire
heads up, I would restart from where I told you before, because we're about to get into spoiler territory.
Okay. Anyways, that's just my opinion. I think that they kind of missed out on it. They could have pushed more towards him, you know, using more of the chain swords. But that's just a nitpick on me, because I remember the old days of Kratos with God of War 1 and 2, right?
One thing I will say is I do enjoy that they gave reason for you to use multiple fighting styles and basically kind of forced you to lean into.
I see why they did it. And I agree with why they did it. I just think that they missed a chance to kind of be able to be like, hey, Kratos is back. You know, now so, it's just hey, Kratos is still here doing the same thing.
Here's the issues I have so far with Ragnarok is it's been extremely linear up to this point. And I mean, 2018 was linear as well.
I was about to say 2018 was extremely linear,
and it hasn't improved much from there. Being like going through the 9 realms and stuff, I expected a lot more openness in some of the areas, but it again, it goes back to that kind of PlayStation 2 style of gaming where you have your linear story segment that rounds out in a boss fight, and then you have a bunch of side quests in kind of a semi-open area in that area. Yeah. And then you move on to the next world and you go through that linear story segment.
Same thing.
Yeah, so it's just kind of wash, rinse, repeat, just different aesthetics, different enemies, different side quests, which the side quests are intriguing. The side quests have good stories along with them. That is the best aspect of this game so far, is just how good the storytelling is.
Well,
Even the
and
most
again, it's
minute stuff.
yeah, and again, that you're never going to get past that. Like God of War has always been an extremely good story game, right?
Yeah.
Like Sony themselves are always extremely good at making story-driven games. Like that's
Yeah.
never going to be not a thing, right?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. The other things, there's still a lot of like that old school game jank. You still have to shimmy through a narrow passage to hide a loading screen, because even
Yeah.
on the PS5 they didn't use the technology with the SSD to make seamless loading screens. I don't understand
Do you-
that, but
Do you think that was because they weren't intending to release on the PS5? Maybe this was supposed to be on the PS4.
it released on PS4 and PS5, so
Okay,
they had to,
so they had
make-
to do with next gen,
all
with
the
last
avenues.
generation again.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
2, it's extremely handholdy. Like the puzzles are really bad about the handholdiness, and I don't know if this is due to accessibility, because this game has more accessibility features than any game that I've ever seen. But if you don't solve a puzzle in the first 15 seconds, somebody's like, one of your followers are going to spoil it for you. It's
That's a little
it's
poo-poo.
yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, and I didn't notice it until about the 10-hour mark when the puzzles started getting more difficult. But yeah, if I took more than like 20 seconds, fucking
like, hey,
Atreus or
you see
Mimir
that
is yelling at me, hey, you
thing
need
over
to
there?
jump over there and hit this
Yeah.
thing at this angle to do that thing. And I'm like, fucking hell, goddamn, let me explore and experiment a little bit. And there's, as far as I can tell, there's no way to turn that off. I've turned the tutorial setting off in the accessibility settings. I've turned a bunch of the other features off. I cannot shut them up.
No, there's a way. You just have to mute the game and turn off subtitles. You can't. You don't hear anything.
Go
You're
on.
just
Yeah.
so.
I'm talking about God of
Upper
War.
dog.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It's one the last thing I'll say for me as far as to wrap this up is that the one thing that I think that plays heavily on is Santa Monica Studios, which is the company the studios that makes this, and their CEO, their lead designer, they believe very much in a very old school method of this, which speaks very true. You can see in a lot of stuff. They didn't like, even down to the point of like DLC. Like they did not release any DLC for God of War. That was content DLC. Now, they had New Game Plus, they had photo mode, but nothing that was this is an additional content. You know, and there are no plans to make this the difference here. Like they have openly said, like there are no plans to do content for this. So I don't know if that maybe would have helped curve some of this stuff to say, hey, some of this content could have been like there could have been content that was DLC, you know, that you gave us, and then we kind of work our way into Ragnarok more. I don't know. Neither here nor there.
Low key, I kind of respect it though.
I mean, I get, yeah, I
get
get it. Yeah,
they pushed it out.
I mean, it's from everything that I've seen. Again, I enjoy 2018, so I have no doubt that I'm going to love the shit out of this.
I want to reiterate that as well. I am very much enjoying the game. I think that both 2018 and Ragnarok so far are extremely good games. I am just being critical for critical sake because there are issues, and not acknowledging those issues would be doing a disservice to the game itself.
I'm interested to see our discussion about God of War.
Ragnarok is pretty, but I ain't gonna go down on them for free. You know what I'm saying?
People are critical on games nowadays, especially after our talk with AAA titles.
But no,
it
is a very good game. I'm enjoying it so far. Some gripes in those regards.
Well,
One other thing, just to kind of close it out. I don't remember the enemies being as floaty and slidey as they are in this one in 2018, but it seems like if an attack comes at you, you're gonna have to respond to it one way or the other. You can't like space out enemies. It's weird, and I don't remember that being a thing in 2018. But
interesting.
I do, but
I
was also playing on the hardest difficulty, so I don't know. And I had to keep people at a fucking arm's length with an axe throwing. So
yeah, it just seems like once you hit a certain like distance from somebody, if they throw an attack, they're going to slide into you to the point where you either have to parry it, block it, or dodge directly. You can't just kind of like walk out of the spacing.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, again, I remember that slidiness, but it was. I don't know. Again, but well, cool. That's God of War Ragnarok. That's all the games we've been playing. But we talked about them not doing DLCs. We talked about them kind of focusing in on this game. And whether or not this was obviously meant to be DLC or like an extension of the story, and they just start whatever. But it goes into our news segment, which is Santa Monica Studio is working on multiple projects. They have teased out that they are working on, I believe, 2 new projects, if I'm not mistaken, for this.
Now, Santa Monica is owned by Sony, correct?
Yes, Santa Monica Studios is owned by Sony. So this is a and one of which is they did announce it's an unannounced, but it's a large project, a large scale project. So it is not.
Are these like new IPs?
I don't think we've got anything that is absolutely guaranteed that these are new IPs, but it is. Like I said, they did say that they are working on two major projects. One of them is a large scale, which I firmly believe is not going to be the PC version, because somebody is working on the PC version of this. Like, I don't know who it is, but someone's working on a PC version of this.
Who did 2018?
Santa Monica.
Yeah, they ported their own
They
stuff
self ported it or whatever.
Yeah, that's why the port was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was. I've heard.
So
okay.
I don't know. I mean, and this is what they're saying. This is a lot different than their other stuff, because they have worked on things that are internal, like Flower, Journey, Unfinished Swan, the Order 1866. They said that this is completely separate. This is 2 major things that they are working on. So it's I don't know. I mean, I like Santa Monica Studios. I wish that they would bring it. I wish Sony would allow them to bring it out to PC day one, because I really would have liked to enjoy Ragnarok day one. But it is what it is. I'll get to enjoy it at some point in time. But I mean, I hold them up there with Insomniac and everybody else. Like they create very well polished, well to do games. So
they do. So looking into it a little deeper, one of the IPs that they're coming out with, it is a fresh IP. It's a sci-fi IP, and it's headed by the God of War 3 creative director and Jedi Fallen Order director. So
both good games.
Both of which were amazing games.
Cool. So there you go. So this is some God of War. Well, not God of War. Santa Monica news, I guess. Coming off the bat. Man, they don't rest, dude. They're just like, you know what? Let's keep pumping them out. Let's go to the next one. Come on, let's go. Got to keep it flowing,
baby.
So
good.
And speaking of nothing but bangers and things like that, I really don't know how I'm gonna make this mix. There's bangers in the Olympics, or that terminology is not gonna be used in the Olympics. Hey, fucking esports. This actually is I think a very important moment in video game history, culture. I think society, to see that for the first time ever, we will actually have esports in the Olympics. The International Olympic Committee announced today that the first ever Olympic Esports Week is coming in 2023. In addition to unveiling its host city. So
that actually is really cool.
I think it's
do we know what games specifically are going to be highlighted?
It'll be League of Legends, obviously.
Overwatch 2. I don't know. I mean, I'd actually be very shocked if they allowed League to be a part of that. Like, Riot's not very.
I don't think they would either. Riot has their own thing.
I don't know. I feel like League is one of those very worldwide games, though.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is though having League on the Olympic stage, I think Riot would be like, yeah, let's do it. Like, that's so much exposure.
I think so.
So let's see. They said that the timing of the inaugural Olympic Esports Week will help the IOC fill the gap between the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics and the Paris 2024 Olympics. And that they took note and that they're holding it to be comparable to the International, which is Dota, Fortnite World Cup Finals. I swear to God, if I see Fortnite on the fucking Olympic stage, I'm gonna lose my shit.
That'll be.
No, I don't know. I mean, look, honest to God, anything on there. They said that the sponsors have long opposed violent esports, but the category is starting to, they started to understand that it's not as controversial. But I seriously doubt that you're not going to see Gears of War. You're not going to see someone blowing someone's head off. You're not going to see.
You're not going to see Counter-Strike.
Yeah, you're not going to see all of that kind of stuff. But I do believe that you'll probably end up seeing. Again, MOBAs do really, really well there. I wouldn't be surprised if you did see maybe Fortnite or something like that. I think Rocket League's a shoe-in. Like that will absolutely be probably one of the events that's there. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what shows up. Is there certain games that you guys would like to see? Or chat, if is there anything you guys would like to see?
Nailed them on the head for me. It would definitely be League and Rocket League.
I'd like to see Siege.
I don't know if you'll see. I don't think you'll see
Siege, but
I don't think you'll see Siege at all. Yeah,
I could see Halo.
I think
Halo. You said?
I could see Halo because I could see Microsoft needs
like old school Halo or the new Halo.
No, like new Halo.
Presence of new Halo though, like esports wise, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like Microsoft needs Halo to be bigger. They just dropped Forge. It's doing well, but it's still not back. I think Halo, they could put Halo on the Olympic stage and it will get attention that it needs, because think about the Olympics. Who's the biggest people that watch the Olympics? I'm sorry, but it's boomers. Boomers is a very and boomers like Halo. Like I like Halo. I'm a boomer. I'm a millennial, but that's what I'm saying. Like it makes sense to see Halo there. And it's also futuristic, even though it's a shooter. It's not real people. You know what I mean? Like I could see it.
I want to go back to the days. If we're talking about boomers, let's get Battlefield 1942. Let's research that, boys. Let's go.
That might induce some.
How are you going to do that in Beijing whenever you're fighting the Japanese? I don't think it's going to work.
League for sure. I think League's one of the most the safest that they could have on the Olympic stage.
Others, honestly.
Yeah,
I love that we're considering League.
I think League, maybe even Dota, or I don't know. Dota would be a rough one though. I don't know.
Do you think we'll definitely see a fighter? I think Street Fighter will definitely be in there.
Street Fighter.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know. Again, because you got the violence. Yeah, I don't think that you're gonna see. I don't think you're gonna see like Mortal Kombat. Obviously.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. Like if you look at fighters, like you could go down the route of brawlers like Smash, which you may see. But I think
what's that new one that came out that was a Smash like, but it was a Cartoon Network?
Multiverses.
Multiverse.
See that?
Multiverses.
You don't think that could be?
No, I think what you're going to see is, again, if you're looking at timing of this, right? Like Street Fighter 6 is coming out around the time in 2023. It makes sense that Street Fighter 6 will be in there. They'll have that. Capcom will put money toward it. And actually, I think Sony will probably because I was about to ask Bill, as our Sony expert here, what is the Sony game? Because I think Microsoft will do Halo. We've got Rocket League. We've got League of Legends or Dota. What is the Sony
doesn't
game?
Have a multiplayer franchise, my guy. It's weird.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you think that they would put the money in Capcom?
Unless they make one specifically for the Olympic Games, they don't have a multiplayer franchise that's like solidified as Sony. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. I think that they would put the money in with Capcom to make that game, right? Like, because again, Street Fighter is synonymous with PlayStation, even though it's got Capcom is kind of synonymous with PlayStation, even though there's no real tie there. They work together, but they don't own Sony doesn't own them. But I could see them doing that. Would be my own.
Could you see him doing like FIFA and shit, or like racing games, like what's it called, Forza?
I don't see racing. I definitely see FIFA. Madden will not make it. You don't think Forza's got an online thing, doesn't it? Yeah, but Forza, I don't think it's that. I think Forza's moving out of that category, and they don't want to be in that. I mean, maybe they might do like
that's a huge stage, man. Like the Olympics is a huge stage for anything.
Yeah, but not a huge racing
like
stage.
Like gaming Olympics, like anything games. If you're saying like moving out of the category, like because of like racing, you mean like NASCAR and stuff?
No. I'm just saying because like Forza is moving out of that. Like they still have Forza, but like they're definitely moving more into the Horizons area, like that style where it's not as competitive. Right. I think you could see like iRacing, like that could be something. Like again, it's a little bit more competitive, but I think iRacing's too niche. Like I think racing as a culture is unless you're gonna throw fucking Mario Kart. Like maybe Nintendo's like
Oh,
Mario Kart.
Euro Truck Simulator in there or something. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
Or Mud Runner.
And Mud Runner.
Interesting to see
Yeah.
for sure, though.
Hardcore competitive fucking trucking across the U.S., baby.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely going to be a platform for people to be able to pay for these studios, PlayStation and Microsoft, to pay money to get these things advertised, and then eventually one of them is going to just buy out the Olympics. And they'll be like, no, this is now the Microsoft Olympics. And with that,
It seems so weird to me. Like I think that would be weird to be like the Olympics 2023 sponsored by
Microsoft.
Xbox.
Like, but hey, you know what? It lines us right into our next news topic, which is obviously the Activision Xbox merger. Not merger, buyout.
Yeah, what's new on this? Because I didn't realize there's a new turn up on that.
Yeah, so like anything, unless you live under a fucking rock, you didn't know that Microsoft paid to acquire Activision, Blizzard, and King, right? Big deal. Big deal for one reason, specifically within PlayStation's eyes, which is Call of Duty. And they did not want to lose it. So the quick 30-second brief of this, the start of it was that, like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, PlayStation, put money into pockets of certain people to have this investigated, which it was going to be investigated regardless, right? But to continue to kind of bring up allegations and accusations and things like that, which Microsoft then has to go and fight, which completely fine. They have the right. It's their money. They can do whatever they want to say, hey, look, this needs to be investigated. And it had gone through the U.S. and they finally got their stamp of approval. There's a couple more things that still have to get approved, but for the most part, it's done. The stuff that's got to get approved over here is like, well, what about PC? And it's like, no, nobody cares. No, nobody cares about that. Like, it's fine. And so what upticked this now was that it went through the EU stuff, and the EU Commission was looking at it. And they basically, some people said that the EU and PlayStation kind of accused them of going through this too quickly. And so the EU kind of said, okay, well, we're going to look at it again. And the section that they looked at was the Windows section of this. They said like, well, this is going to make it so Mac doesn't get access to this stuff. And I don't know, Macs don't get any of this shit anyway. Like, they haven't been getting this stuff for a long time.
That's funny.
But
If you're gaming on Mac, I don't know what you're doing.
so then PlayStation got more pissed off because of this. And so then it just stirred up this whole like rumor, or not rumor, but just like this firing back and forth between Xbox fans and PlayStation and biases and all this bullshit to basically go and say like that they're now looking even deeper into Xbox and this acquisition. But what people don't understand is that they're looking into the PC and Mac version. They're not looking into like, oh, is Activision gonna, or is Microsoft
Xbox
not gonna?
versus PlayStation.
Right. And
before
basically,
they look into the Linux version, Linux gamers aren't getting access to their
Linux
shit.
isn't good, and actually that's completely untrue. Linux is actually quickly turning into like one of the bigger gaming platforms recently. It's kind of crazy.
Now
Yeah.
that the anti-cheats are finally adapting to
It's kind of insane. My brother was telling me about.
You can thank Valve for that, honestly.
That's what I was about to say. My brother was telling he wants to get one of those Steam Decks, right? He's been looking into it, and apparently you can sideload a version of Ubuntu or a version of one of them, and you can download just any video game that you want to off of your Steam library, and it should run natively on your Steam Deck at that point.
so here's a question that I want to bring up about this, and then we can move on because we've talked about this ad nauseum as well. But at a certain point, do you think that it's that PlayStation or whatever company, and I don't want to just single out PlayStation, but they're the ones that are kind of spearheading this? Do you think that at a certain point it starts to look bad for them to just go, guys, give it the fuck up, man? Because every time they do this,
in my opinion, it already looks bad for him. It just makes him look petty at this point, because when we've talked about this a couple of different times, where it's like when they first came out with it, when they were like, this isn't fair, you're taking away. It's like, bitch, you've been doing that for the last 18 fucking years. Like don't throw, people that live in glass houses shouldn't be throwing rocks or bricks, whatever you want to call it, right? Like that's essentially what they were doing. They were like, hey, wait, you can't do that, Microsoft, throwing a brick. It's stupid.
Well, the thing that I think that they're doing, and someone needs to somewhere be like say something to somebody, is like all you're doing is giving Microsoft a bigger platform to say, hey,
Play where you want.
we're gonna keep it on PlayStation. You're gonna get to play. Like you're just giving them more advertisement space. So, yeah, I don't know.
I just think they need to shut Jim Ryan up.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think he's
I
done
agree with
more damage for this whole thing with his statements than like the overall lawsuit in general. He doesn't have a way with words that makes him seem like a good guy.
Yeah. Well, he traveled to Brussels to like spearhead this. And it's just kind of and like again, this is just where and then he did the, you know, like him or hate him, he did the Donald Trump thing. He got on Twitter. It's like what are you doing? It's like just stop. Just stop. Like it, you know, and all you're doing is fueling the fire because again, you're just making Microsoft look like the good guy cuz every time you bring this up and they go, we're keeping this stuff everywhere. Right? Like
That's always a bad look, man. Whenever you take it to Twitter, that's always a bad look.
so I don't know.
They always resort to that too.
So, there you go. I don't know. And moving on to another company with another issue that is going on. And, you know, it seems like we have Bayonetta. We've got this stuff going on with Microsoft, you know, now Bethesda, which is still Microsoft, is in this. But I think this was, Bill, was this yours? Who brought this up? Go ahead, take it away.
Doom 2016 composer and like the dude who's done the Doom soundtracks for a long time, had a very close workings with id Software and stuff, has had a pretty big public falling out with Bethesda and id Software. A few years ago, the creative director for Doom Eternal came out and said that Mick Gordon was completely unapproachable, wouldn't bend, wouldn't budge on the requests that id Studios had of him with regards to the soundtrack, and they basically had to outsource it. Mick Gordon recently came forward with his own statement in response to that a couple years later, because it had started to affect his livelihood. The rumor mill was going, he was having a harder time finding work and stuff because this was basically a burn piece on him that Bethesda had put out. Came through with a massive article. It's a lot to get through, but it has receipts. Obviously, most of it is very much from his perspective of the interactions, but he has receipts on everything that he did with id Software and Bethesda through the Doom Eternal process. He's also saying that Bethesda still owes him royalties for music that he created for Doom Eternal. They didn't end up using it in the finalized version of the game, but they used it in advertising and at conventions. They used those soundtracks, so those soundtracks still went into the push of the game, even if they didn't make it into the finalized soundtrack.
That's insane to me, dude. Like the fact that you commission an artist, regardless if it's artwork, you know, music, design, anything like that. You commission the artist to make you something. Even if you don't use it, you still have to pay for that fucking work. Like, that's fucking stupid to me, dude.
And so his backlash was on that is not, he didn't let them use his work in Eternal, right? Is that what I'm getting?
So the issues that they were having is they were basically wanting to hyper crunch time him. He's an independent contractor basically. They were commissioning him for soundtrack work like they have in the previous games, but this one in particular, the creative director was like vice gripping him and basically trying to force him into work conditions that he wasn't comfortable working in to get the product out at the time that they wanted it out. So he was not able to get the entirety of the soundtrack. I don't know what portion of the soundtrack for Doom Eternal is Mick Gordon's work and what part isn't, but they ended up having to outsource and kind of do other things to get the soundtrack finished because he basically became non-compliant because of the demands that they were wanting from him. They were just being unreasonable.
That's crazy. Wasn't he getting like death threats and stuff from this too?
From the original thing that the creative director for Doom Eternal put out, that was why he came forward a couple years later with his statement.
That's absurd.
Yeah. So 2020, the creative director put his stuff out. This year, Mick Gordon put out his statement, and just this week, Bethesda official put out their support for Doom Eternal's creative director and denounced what Mick Gordon put in his statements as one-sided and unjust. So it's a back and forth in that sphere.
Good old Bethesda.
Yeah, it just goes to show that Bethesda's still kind of a shithole company, even
just
if it
as
is
shitty of a fucking company as ever.
even if it is a subsect of Bethesda. I used to have a pretty decent respect for id Software back in the day, but more and more they've just not been id.
Yeah.
So
They've not been id.
Yeah, that was good.
But Mick Gordon, it's that sound that Doom is known for, like that the soundtrack that made Doom.
Oh, you know,
there's a reason why Doom Eternal's OST isn't as well received as the prior game's OSTs. It's because it was only a portion of his work.
Makes sense.
One of the final things with this is, in Mick Gordon's statement, they basically forced the editor that was working for id, that was kind of like trying to chop the work up to like spread it throughout the game. They gave them co-writer on the soundtrack stuff that Mick did, even though they were literally just like copy cutting and pasting the soundtrack.
That's fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
fucked up.
And they gave them the royalties in regards to that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's okay because Xbox saw that this was happening, and then they decided to come out with this little piece of PR, which is their player journey infographic. Actually, let me make this a little bit smaller. Here we go. There you go. So this is Xbox's. They shared their transparency on how, like, basically if you report somebody and there's a violation and what happens with your account and all that kind of stuff. So that's my transition segue over to this.
Great segue.
Yeah.
What's funny about this is that if this was Riot, it would just be a straight line into the trash can. Like your complaint just goes straight into a fucking
it would be
dumpster fire.
Incident occurs. Has this user spent a shit?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Money? Yes. No.
I will say,
yes,
man, I have a very high amount of people. Like, I will report someone, and I get, like, I would say probably at least, like, I'm not gonna say like 30%, 40% of the time. If I report somebody, I'm getting that feedback back saying, yeah, we've done something.
That's a whole nother branch. Has this person paid a lot of money? Is he reporting? Banned.
That's great. So it happened on COD too. I did it on COD now, so noticed.
God.
So
Nice.
But anyway, the transparency here, basically, the reason this is news is because I actually think this is actually a really positive way. There's a lot of things that are kind of behind closed doors when it comes to what actually happens when you report. Like one of the biggest things is like, report them. Well, why? It doesn't really matter, right? Like, is it really going to do anything? And I mean, I think that this doesn't like necessarily specify that they actually, take a lot of action. I think it at least opens the eyes to people to say, hey, this is what happened. Like, this is how it happens. This is how we make our decision. It's not Twitch's dice roll. It's not Riot's who's spending more money, mentality. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, good, bad, and different doesn't matter.
I'm all for companies putting more info out there behind the scenes. Like, whether
I'm all for. As I was saying, I'm all for not having my possible ban or suspension decided by the roll of a D20. It's always a great time.
I'm looking at this, and I didn't look at it before, and I'm like trying to figure it out. It looks almost like Candyland to me for some reason. And this is like their process of where
this is their process of what happens when they get a report. Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes down the line of these routes pretty much. I mean, I'm all for like transparency and everything like this. I'm tilting my head like trying to read like what. Okay, it goes here, it goes there. Okay, sure.
If you roll a 6, you got to start over.
Right.
Fucking Scruffy's over there like, where's the fucking Monopoly dude
Where's the
helmet? You
Jonah,
know?
My
Chelsea
question
card?
is
I can get unbanked.
where is the fucking COD lobby incident on this one? Because I'm not seeing that shit anywhere. Where's that
off
one?
the charts. That's-
So, to also bring some other light to this, this is again well played for Microsoft on this. I make a joke about the whole Bethesda thing. I don't know where this came, like if this happened before or after, but this did happen around the same time that all of this stuff with the EU went live. You know, all of this stuff kind of got brought back up, and they're being like, hey, by the way, because this also has to, like, the acquisition has to pass through, you know, the Eastern regulators as well. And one of the big things that they were very transparent on and they pushed very hard for is, hey, you guys get to control how much time is spent on your screens, right? Like you can, if you're, you know, concerned that your kids are going to turn into zombie mush monsters, you can go in there and set the restriction and look at everything and how much they've got and what they're spending and where they're playing their game, like all of this. So again, kudos, whoever is over there is smart. They're not stupid. They're very smart about how they did this. But yeah, I mean, I think in a day and age where we have companies like Facebook, you know, all the stuff that's going on with Twitter, it's good to see a company push like, hey, we're trying to be as transparent as we possibly can. Are they giving you everything? No, there's still some stuff in the background. Like they're still selling your data, boo boo. But you know, no, we will. We're going to mention that, Stevens. Don't worry. That's a topic that's going to come up because
it's coming. Yeah.
As we talk about the East, fuck it, I'll bring it up right now. As we talk about the East, Blizzard decided to say no more stuff to China. So
crazy to me, dude.
Don't know how that's gonna function with Microsoft getting that shit passed by. Like, yeah, the company that we bought, they said fuck you, China. They don't like you. So. Yeah, this is kind of this. It's just It's honest to God, that is it. That is the expression that should be tied to this. It's just laughing uncontrollably. Like,
I mean, if I'm being completely honest,
I think it's a good step. Balls to do it.
I think it's a good step in the right direction because, like, obviously, like when it comes down to it, China and Blizzard have had nothing but bad shit happen between the two of them.
So much, like it's insane how much they hate each other. Like,
and I'm honestly surprised that it took this long after the whole Blitzchung shit that happened like 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere around there, right? Like I'm honestly surprised that they didn't completely disavow China at that point and just be like, hey, we're washing our hands of this shit, no more China. Right.
What's unaware of the history of all of this? I guess I don't know what that is.
No, China and Blizzard have had a really rough time. Like even going back into like
it's
original
years, man.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
even go back into original World of Warcraft had to be completely pretty much remade from the ground up because a lot of shit that they had in original World of Warcraft would not make it in China.
Yeah,
like
they had
bones, which bones and anything that has to do with death. Not a good thing in China. Like if you
had to make a second version of the game for China as well.
Like
they don't
like a lot of like the Western themes, so they had to go in there and completely remake a bunch of stuff from some of the locations in World of Warcraft.
That's why if you look
crazy,
if you look at games like Lost Ark, like actually go and look at Lost Ark, like you don't see skeletons a lot. Like it's very few and far between. And also
tentacles and whatnot instead.
But also Dota, they had to remake an entire character who was called Skeleton King. He got remade. I think he's the Undead King or something like that, or something like that. But they had to remake him because he was.
And even recently, like a lot of the stuff that they had in what's their card game called again? Hearthstone, right? They did a ton of fucking censorship in Hearthstone for like cards of like characters that are showing a little bit too much fucking chesticles, right? Something like that, right? They had to completely remake that just to be over in China because China doesn't like that shit, which makes no fucking sense to me considering like that area over there is A-okay with nudity on fucking TV, but you can't have a chick with a little bit too much chesticle being shown.
Interesting. Yeah. I read this. I'm like, that came out of the blue, but now realizing like, they've
had so much issues.
What's crazy is that taking all of that aside, they crunched the numbers and saw that, you know what, we're okay with losing this amount of money because they're losing. Like, I don't give a fuck what you.
They are losing a lot.
They are
of money
losing a
like,
shit ton of money.
There's
over
a
there.
ton of Chinese people or like the East that just plays World of Warcraft, and it's an insane amount, dude. Like an insane amount of fucking.
To be
money.
fair, they'll probably. I mean, they're gonna VPN anyway and do the same thing that
probably
we all do.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Somebody somewhere crunched those numbers to go and say this is okay. Like we're okay with doing this, and I guarantee they looked at Diablo 4 is coming out, so they don't have to re-put the money and work into fucking redoing that because there's skeletons galore throughout Diablo. They looked at Dragonflight, happening. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Right. Like all of these things that are coming over, it doesn't matter. That's impressive to me. That is insane to me that they're okay with losing that amount of money. But
it's crazy, man. I'm actually impressed. Honestly, like I'm impressed that they took that step forward. So
yeah,
it just seems
good
like
on you, Blizzard.
they need all the money
Well
they
done,
can,
Blizzard.
but okay.
no, they got X. They don't. Xbox is
They got
fucking
Xbox behind them now. Yeah.
$70 billion. They don't need it. They're fine.
That's true.
But talking about losing all your money, and Bill, I'm going to let you kind of take this one because again, this was your article, and I saw it, and I didn't understand it until I read more deeply, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Well, how FTX? Who gives a shit?" But then I was like, "Oh, that's why you give a shit." Talking about losing all your money, go ahead, hit us with the FTX news.
So FTX, if you aren't familiar with cryptocurrencies or anything like that, was one of the largest crypto exchanges around, if not the largest.
I'm pretty sure.
Was it
the largest? Yeah.
It gone.
Yeah.
It's that
Not only
money
is it gone,
evaporated into the sky.
exactly billions of dollars worth of fucking Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies gone. Just fucking gone.
This exchange crashed, disappeared, liquidated, and it was enough to completely crash the entirety of the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything nosedived because FTX went down. To the point where there's obviously going to be lawsuits that are going around, but these lawsuits aren't just for FTX. They are for anybody that was sponsored or pushing celebrity-wise.
Dude,
FTX.
Did you know that FTX had sponsored an entire fucking stadium?
Yeah,
Like
there's
a sports stadium.
There's so many people that are fucked in this. Like this is why I was like, I don't understand why this is a big deal. Who cares if TSM drops them? And then when I read the fucking FTX news, I was like, oh my god, this is huge. This is nuclear fallout.
So this lawsuit
Chernobyl
is like going out to all of these celebrity endorsers, basically for false advertising on a
get out of
rug pull scheme. Is basically what the mainstream media, like the biggest rug pull scheme ever. Tom Brady is being sued because he was a sponsor of FTX. Larry David, Steph Curry.
I think Michael Jordan was a sponsor as well. There was a couple of other ones.
It is wild, and with all of this going on, tying it into gaming, TSM was being backed by FTX, and they have quickly cut the cord and denounced everything to do with their FTX sponsorship. They have pulled out of their contract with FTX. They took whatever penalty that was, but they probably did the right thing in this situation. So TSM is no longer being backed or sponsored by FTX.
Yeah, it was
across all gaming platforms, all of their brands.
It was a FTX arena in Florida. Was the it's an entire like arena, like sports arena that was sponsored by FTX.
So was this considered a rug pull then, or because
they're still trying to get information on it.
A lot of people.
All of the revenue, right? And but this case, all revenue, it evaporated in a sense.
Okay, hold on. So it's not. It didn't evaporate. Here's the thing about it, right? The rug pull allegations are probably going to fall flat. It's the embezzling. It's the insider trading. It's all the shit that cryptocurrency was built on to get against. Right. This is where, because as a proponent, I'm not amongst friends when I say this, especially on this podcast. As a person that has done homework into NFTs and stuff like that. Like I do like the idea of NFTs and what the core system of an NFT and cryptocurrency is supposed to stand for. This completely Chernobyl the whole fucking thing. Like this was absolutely what everything that's supposed to be cryptocurrency was against. There was not a way for us to lose our funds. There's not a way for us to lose our money.
I thought that wasn't supposed to be able to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what
the blockchain, man.
Right.
What happened?
That's what I'm saying. The issue here was that, and this is where a big part of this is going to fall, is that you try to decentralize cryptocurrency, but until it's truly decentralized, and decentralized meaning that it's not held within a construct of a company to hold the funds of where this stuff goes, it doesn't work. Well, how do you build that? Like, how do you build a blockchain that's just not held by anybody, right? And so this also touches every other, like, I don't know how much you guys have looked into what FTX has, but other company, the reason that this is like the fallout of 2018's like, or not 2018, but the 2008 fucking real estate crash that happened, right? Where it was so toxic, it touched everything. FTX touched almost every single crypto company, period. So like crypto, the company that is backed by, or that not backed by, but has the spokesperson, oh my God, I can't. He's a big actor. I can't think of Matt Damon. Matt Damon, like he backed all this. It's on movie theaters everywhere. That's getting investigated because they're part of this, right? Like they had their stuff being backed by FTX. Like so, the head one crumbles, and now everything else underneath it is falling. There are senators that are being investigated. There are fucking banks that are being investigated. A lot
of people are being invested for money laundering, essentially.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective, also, it is the reports are that 10 billion in customer assets have been shifted from FTX to
oh my God,
the CEO's trading company.
Of course.
And 1 billion of client funds are just missing straight up.
Yeah.
Don't know where they're at,
and they're not coming back. Even if the court,
you're not getting that.
Even if the court system, I know guys, we're a little bit over time, but this is important to understand. Just for any obviously a lot of us, are adults, but there are some kids that listen to us and stuff like that. Which, dear God, hopefully you're over the age of 18. Listen to this podcast. But it's important to understand, like even if this goes to court and they rule in your favor, that money is gone. And these guys that did this are going to most likely just get a slap on the wrist. If you're lucky, have one fall guy or two fall guys that'll end up in a white collar prison for which they're getting better lunches than all of us will ever get. They're sitting cushiony and they'll get out in a year. And like, that's the problem that this all touches, is that crypto was supposed to be this way of getting away from this shit. And this is what happens. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking crazy, man. Like,
it's wild though. It is a wild time to
no, it's just,
and this is why I never got into crypto.
Which is sad. It's sad, man. Because it really does push back the like development of Web 3, and whether you again like to or believe in NFTs or crypto or not, like it just really does like push back the
it's a
progression
major setback to any positivity that would have came from this like industry.
This is on crypto's track record forever now.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be something that people are going to look at. And again, like we have to evolve past the monetary value of what we have today. Like, we've got the money, all that stuff, gold, like it's not going to last forever. We can't keep doing what we're doing. And Web3 was kind of this next, it was looked at as like, hey, we can develop this and do it right. Now it's fucked for, I don't know how long. Like, how long is Chernobyl can't be lived in? I don't know. Double that. Like, that's where we're at with this. So it's fucking annoying. So hopefully nobody of our chat got hit by this. If you did, I feel terrible for you. I really do. So, all right. Well, quick hits, guys, and we're wrapping up. So any questions that you may have, make them quick, put them in chat. We'll answer them. But quick hits, Dead Island 2 got delayed. No shocker there. Along with Redfall and Starfield. So all the Xbox games that were supposed to come out in 2023 or 2022, we're not getting any of them.
I'm very happy to see Starfield got delayed. Like low key, I want that game to be good, but I'm not impressed by the track that I had seen at that point. It needs more time.
The season of delays, and delays aren't a bad thing.
No, delays are a good thing in my book.
They're
Give me
only a
good
bad
finished
thing
game.
if you come out and be like, "Hey, all these games are releasing this year, Xbox," and then I think we got one so far, so that's cool.
Redfall, right? I was looking forward to Redfall, but I'll gladly wait for it to get better if they needed it.
Yeah.
Nintendo Power. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember Nintendo Power. I know Scruffy absolutely.
I'm excited about this one.
Scruffy does not know Nintendo Power. Do you know?
No Nintendo.
Wow. Okay, I'm impressed.
I don't know Nintendo Power, but that's because I don't give a fuck.
You don't
about
like
Nintendo.
So. Dude,
Yeah, man.
I grew up with little sin feet dangling on the toilet, sitting there reading Nintendo Power when I was pooping.
Is Nintendo Power like a gaming magazine or something like that?
Yeah, it's a gaming
I
magazine.
them. I used to cut shit out and hang it on my walls. I read so many.
It's great. I am all for this. I love this. All of them now can be read online, and they have released online. I think it's a super important thing for historical purposes.
Good for
to keep.
Archiving.
Yeah,
sure.
archiving is super important in this day and age, in this culture, or in this industry, and I don't think it happens enough. So super happy about that. Among Us released in VR, has gotten pretty popular. Seems pretty cool. I don't know, maybe give it a try.
Kind of funny.
Yeah,
I actually would like to play that. Is it free if you already have it, or do you have to buy it?
I think it's just an update.
You already have it.
Okay. We might have to check it out. Can you play with people that aren't on VR though?
I don't
think you can
think so. I think it's all VR based. So
I got you.
And then last bit of news before we wrap the show. Elon Musk offers YouTube Gaming the head job at Twitter because Elon Musk now owns Twitter. If you guys have not seen that. So
given the stuff that happened today, I don't know if that guy's going to be accepting the job, but we will see.
Dude, Twitter's just a dumpster fire of all, so I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's
funny.
I love it.
I'm pretty amusing the past couple of weeks seeing all this stuff.
The memes coming out of Twitter right now are amazing.
We didn't even talk about the Twitter verification plummeting stocks of companies like Eli and Lilly.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole nother thing.
We'll talk about that on another I don't know, on our fucking our Twitter. Yeah. We could hide a whole podcast just on Twitter.
Oh man.
So anyway, yeah, hey, I'll pay for the verification. We'll get pre-patch podcast, that check mark, baby. Let's go. We can siphon the money that we're paying for this shitty fucking service. Anyway, all right. So, guys, thank you guys so much. Number 70 is in the books for myself, for Enigma, for Bill, and for Scruffy. We thank you all for being here. If you are live,
real quick.
Yep.
Wait. Before we say again, next week, if you guys are used to being on all of our individual channels, we are moving to the pre-patch podcast channels on Twitch and YouTube. So we will not be on our individual channels. We will not be on Scruffy's channel. We won't be on Bill's channel. We won't be on Sin's channel. We will be at twitch.tv/prepatch podcast and youtube.com/ I think it's at prepatch podcast. Is it, or is it at /C? I think it's at, right?
At
prepatch podcast. So that's we'll be going from there. Moving on, we will be on those two avenues. So if you're on the Twitch side, or if you're on the YouTube side, it's gonna be one location for everybody. Doesn't mean everybody's stopping streaming. Obviously, Scruffy, Sin, Bill gonna be doing their thing on YouTube. I'll throw up the rare fucking occasional Twitch stream, obviously, but we will be on the Pre-Patch Podcast YouTube channel and the Pre-Patch Podcast Twitter channel moving forward from now on. So
you know where to find us now.
Yep.
Everything. It's unified brand. Pre-Patch Podcast everywhere. Anchor.fm/Pre-Patch Podcast. Fucking what's called?
This is why you let me say this stuff, because I'm fucking
Twitter.
used to it. Oh my God. I was gonna say it. I was gonna say this stuff. Go ahead. Okay. No, send us out. Let me know when you want me to hit the play button. No, go ahead. It's okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
You're the producer. That's why
Enigma, go ahead. Send us out. I'm waiting to hit the button, man. I'm okay.
You do.
Guys,
I'm waiting on you
for pre-patch podcast episode 70.
Wait. No, I'm just
son of a bitch.
We gotta go.
Okay, goodbye. We're out. Bye. Catch us next time. See ya.
They're even dirty.